the war to a close. And this is what everybody believes. This is a story from the Wall Street Journal, and this includes a statement from the president as well. It says, President Trump said on Tuesday the U.S. would be leaving Iran in 2 to 3 weeks. Addressing reports in the Oval Office, Trump said the U.S. has eliminated Iran's nuclear threat. He said it will take 15 to 20 years for them to rebuild what we've done to them. Trump plans to address the nation on the war tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Earlier in the day, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, said the coming days of the conflict would be decisive, and that the number of projectiles launched by Iran in the past 24 hours represented the lowest during the war so far. At the same time, the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush and its accompanying warships are deploying to the Middle East, joined 2 other U.S. carrier strike groups in the region. So you're going to have 3 carrier strike groups positioned, I believe, by the end of this week. That is the USS Abraham Lincoln, the Gerald Ford, and the George Bush. That's actually 1 additional carrier from when we started. We started with 2, now we're going to have 3. And so let's talk about the current state of the conflict. I'm not going to go through all the background. I think everybody's aware of the facts at this point. As you know, we are stuck in this bear trap. We are caught in a stalemate. The decisive 4-day operation to collapse Iran's government with a decisive strike failed. We are now in an attritional war, which is depleting our munitions, standoff weapons, missile defense systems. Iran is successfully targeting U.S. radar, U.S. bases, strategic U.S. aircraft like the B-3 Sentry, which was destroyed earlier in the week and which cannot be replaced. Which we only have about a dozen of those. We don't make them anymore. We don't know how to make them anymore. And that is not even mentioning the biggest problem in this attritional war, which is not even the economical problem of our slow defense supply chains, the fact that we have been rendered vulnerable to Iranian drones and ballistic missiles, which has caused significant losses of U.S. military hardware and infrastructure. But the biggest problem, as everybody knows, is this global energy crunch, which has resulted from Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz. And make no mistake about it. Let's say this, and I don't know that I've said it explicitly to date in my coverage of the Iran war, and if I have, I haven't said it enough. Understand that this represents an actual territorial gain for the Islamic Republic of Iran. Consider that last year, when we engaged Iran in negotiations in the summer, we were looking to negotiate on their nuclear program, and maybe their missiles and their proxies. It was the same framework in February when we re-engaged Iran in negotiations again. Well, consider that whether we end the conflict this week or whether we escalate the conflict to win, consider that we have no ability to leverage Iran on any of those issues. Obviously, if we walk away now, we will not have meaningfully imposed restrictions on Iran's support for its proxies, on Iran's missile program, or on Iran's nuclear program. And those were the 3 issues of contention. Those were the 3 big files or big areas that were subject to debate last year and last month. What has changed is that Iran has actually expanded its strategic posture in the Middle East. When we say that Iran is close to the Strait of Hormuz, what we are talking about is that they are using drones and missiles to prevent allied Gulf country commercial shipping from leaving the Strait. So if a Saudi, Kuwaiti, Emirati, Qatari container ship or chemical tanker tries to leave the Strait, it will come under attack by Iran, and because the Strait is so narrow, it will surely be hit, and so these vessels are not being insured. So there's a very good chance it will be sunk, and so a lot of them don't want to take a risk because they don't want to die, and they don't want to lose the cargo, and also the cargo is not going to be insured. So you've got all these ships stuck on the other side, and Iran is effectively not exercising a veto over which ships can leave and which ships will remain stuck inside the Persian Gulf. Now, what's important to understand about this arrangement is this is not a temporary condition of the conflict. This is actually a strategic seizure of the Strait of Hormuz. By effectively closing the Strait to some shipping and leaving it open to other shipping, Iran has effectively seized control over it. It's not just about their lobbing drones over there and the whole thing is shut down. No, they are effectively exercising control like a tollway. And what has been made clear by Iran is that they are now going to formalize this new dynamic. This is going to actually become the long-term, formal, legal situation. And by that I mean, Iran aims to seize legal control over the Strait, and in the future they're going to charge every ship that enters and exits the Strait a toll, which might be up to $2 million per ship. And this is not the way the Strait of Hormuz worked before. This is how other choke points work, like the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal, where Panama and Egypt will charge a toll for shipping that transits through that canal because they have to build the canal, because they have to maintain the canal. This is not how the Strait of Hormuz used to operate. So consider that Iran has actually expanded its control. So not only are we not getting what we originally asked for, and what we originally weren't even considering was on the table, so we're not getting nuclear restrictions, and we weren't even talking about missiles and regional proxies before. Now, they took the Strait, and as we look toward a possible retreat or surrender, we're not even going to take that back. And so, when you look at this conflict, not only have we lost on the battlefield because we have not achieved our strategic objectives, actually the opposite has happened. Iran has achieved strategic objectives. Not only did they survive, and their regime is intact, what's more, many of their weapon systems are still intact. They still maintain the ability, and what they claim to be their right, to have a domestic drone and missile industry, to have nuclear enrichment, to have nuclear complex. They still have that highly enriched uranium buried in one of their nuclear facilities, but also they're walking away with more than what they started with. Their oil industry remains intact, their oil exports are actually still going through, and in the future, they're going to be able to turn the Strait of Hormuz into a revenue source, and by seizing control over it, they now have de jure veto power over 20% of the world's oil supply. So you could say, another way to frame that is that prior to the conflict, Iran produced 4% of the world's oil. So they controlled 4% of the world's oil. Well, now that they've taken control over the Strait, through which 20% of the world's oil flows, now they have quintupled the amount of energy resources that they actually control. Whereas before, they controlled the oil that they made and exported, which was 4%. Now they control 5 times that. Because they get to dictate all the energy that goes through the Strait, which is all the energy that's pumped from the Persian Gulf, not just from them, but also from the Gulf countries across the way. They also have now taken control over a fifth of the LNG market, because it's 20% of the world's natural gas, which is being pumped out of Qatar through the Strait of Hormuz. So we are in a situation where, as we said repeatedly throughout the past few weeks, Trump was not able to achieve his objectives. Iran survived the killing blow, and now they're not going anywhere because the attack failed. It's actually strengthened and buttressed the regime, and so we failed, they succeeded, and now Iran is inflicting the maximum amount of pain to deter future aggression, another attempt to topple their government, and not only that, but they have also taken control of the Strait of Hormuz in such a way that it might be impossible for us to undo this situation. And if we don't fix it now, we may never fix it, because that would entail repeating this war, which would entail all the same problems that we're encountering now: a shortage of weapons, a shortage of munitions, the inability to suppress Iran's tactical capability to launch and make drones and ballistic missiles. So this is truly a dire situation. And as we said, there's really just 2 options. Trump can either escalate or de-escalate. He can either ramp up the tactics, and the only way he can do that is with ground forces. We are doing everything that we are capable of in the air and from the sea. And so the only domain that we can actually even extend the fight into is with some kind of ground presence. Whether that's an amphibious invasion, whether that's using a proxy force like the Kurds, whether we're backing an anti-government group on some timeline. That's the only way that we can escalate from a modal point of view, escalating the mode of fighting to achieve the initial objectives, which are regime change, or disabling every position where they've hidden and are able to launch drones and missiles. The only other option is we sue for peace, and we beg Iran for a truce through intermediaries like through Pakistan and China. And that's it, those are your options. Now, as I said, the big development from today is that Trump appears to be looking for an exit, and that has been the story for the past few weeks. What is this exit going to consist in? Is Trump going to make some audacious invasion attempt, either of the islands or of the mainland, in an attempt to escalate in order to save face, gain leverage, dictate terms, to end the conflict, or is Trump effectively just going to bow out and surrender? And the logic so far has been that it's unlikely that Trump will surrender. Based on what we know about Trump and his MO, based on what we know about the pressures in the region, our allies like Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and Israel, they want us to keep going, and they're pressuring us to keep going. Based on the conditions in this conflict, if we wrap it up now, almost certainly this is going to become a problem again in the future. The leadership that we killed has been replaced by hardliners that are less willing to negotiate and more extreme. Because of the way we conducted ourselves in the conflict, we have probably alienated the Iranian people and made an uprising less likely, not more likely. Additionally, this war might be so catastrophic for the economy at a global level that if we even were to consider going back in and finishing the job, assuming that Iran tries to rebuild its missiles or nukes or other military capabilities, the entire world is going to protest a second go at it, a second attempt to try to do this all over again. And almost certainly that is what the situation would call for on a long enough timeline. An emboldened regime that the people have rallied behind that is engaging to retake and rebuild its missile program, its highly enriched uranium, begin enriching uranium again, you're going to have pressure to go back in. So the wisdom so far has been that Trump is not going to walk away because really he can't. There's no way from a strategic point of view, it just isn't sound for us to just wash our hands of this and get out of it. On some level, Iran has all the cards, and they are going to dictate how this is going to go. They're going to dictate the timeline and the terms. And there's very little that we can do to alter how they feel about it and how they're going to go about this. So like I said, you got the statement from Trump earlier today. Trump says the war is going to end imminently. He's giving a statement tomorrow. You have Pete Hegseth say today that the next couple of days are going to be decisive. Marco Rubio said yesterday that we may end the conflict without liberating Strait of Hormuz. Benjamin Netanyahu said to the Israeli press that Iran no longer poses a threat to Israel. And so for the past 48 hours, there's been this overwhelming messaging blitz, and that is how I would describe it. It looks very coordinated because of the timing, and because the messaging is pretty consistent across the board. There is a messaging blitz which seems to want all of us to believe that this war is going to end. And this is what I hear everybody saying, and the markets seem to believe as well. Today, all of the markets rebounded. I reposted it today in my Telegram. All the stock indices are up, the NASDAQ, S&P 500, the Dow, and they're way up. They were way down yesterday, way down on Friday. Today, everything's right back up. And the buzz and the rumors on social media is that the war is over. Bill Ackman is telling people to buy stocks again. Everything's going to be okay. And like I said at the top of the show, it might be the case, of course, that if we take this at face value, that this indicates that the war is truly about to end. And maybe Trump, in the primetime address tomorrow, will announce that the war is over. And we will begin a withdrawal. There have been a lot of discussions to this end. What is Iran demanding on their side? Well, they have demanded that the U.S. withdraw from all of its Middle Eastern bases. There was a report just the other day that the United States wants to leave all of the Middle Eastern bases, and they want to build a base in Israel to replace them. So maybe that points towards a surrender with honor. Maybe that points towards a face-saving withdrawal. Iran says that the new status quo is that they will control the Strait of Hormuz and charge a toll. Again, Trump has said, and the Secretary of State has said, that retaking the Strait of Hormuz is no longer necessary to end the war. Initially, when the war was declared, Trump said that one of the objectives was regime change. Well, just yesterday, Trump said we achieved regime change. Even though that's not really true, just like in Venezuela, the security infrastructure remains intact. The entire security apparatus is still there. It's still the Iranian Revolutionary Islamic government. It's still the IRGC that runs the country. They appointed a new Ayatollah, and he is the son of the previous Ayatollah. And so there's not a meaningful regime change, and yet they're saying that it's mission accomplished, that victory condition has been satisfied. So there's a lot of evidence right now, again, just based on what is being said, how they are finessing the objectives, various rumors, statements, that maybe Washington is coming to peace with the fact that we can't win this one, that there's literally no way out. The air and sea power isn't doing it. And the longer this goes on, the more likely it will have catastrophic effects on the economy. And to the extent that they have considered some kind of amphibious assault of an island or the mainland, maybe they're reconsidering in light of the fact that it would be a suicide mission. It has a low likelihood of success. There would certainly be high casualties, whether it's successful or not, and that might actually tend to increase our commitment in this war rather than lead to a way out of it. So this is some of the logic that might suggest that we're leaving the war, and all the hype and all the buzz reflects an actual strategic pivot inside the White House. On the other hand, and this is where I've been coming at it from the past few weeks, I am deeply skeptical of everything that is being said by this administration right now, especially right now. And that is because the administration has a tendency to lie about everything. And in particular, the administration lies about matters of war. It's actually part of the doctrine. And it's been a part of Trump's doctrine since the very beginning, going back 10 years. Trump likes to put out a mixed message. He likes brinksmanship. He likes to offer the carrot and the stick. He likes to confuse and throw the opponent off balance. And so, actually, if you're taking it at face value, on its face, you almost have to assume that this is misdirection. It's almost a safer bet. Rather than assume they're telling the truth and they're telegraphing their real strategy, there is a pivot inside the White House and they're just telling us. I think actually, maybe the more likely explanation is that it's misdirection. This is a case of tactical misdirection. And you know this because the messaging is very coordinated right now, and it's also a complete 180 from the messaging on Sunday. So while the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the insiders say that Trump is getting ready to wind down, he's bored with the fighting, he's ready to move on to Cuba, he's ready to resign without the Strait of Hormuz. On Sunday, Trump said that if Iran doesn't open up the Strait, he's going to bomb all their civilian infrastructure. So how do you go from Sunday, if you don't open up the Strait, we're going to nuke your country, to Monday, you know what, never mind, we're good. You keep the Strait, we're not going to do anything at all. Simultaneously, there's been a lot of talk about diplomacy, about peace talks. And there's been this line for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks at this point. The administration is saying that they are in talks with intermediaries, Turkey, Pakistan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and they are trying to broker a truce with Iran. And to put it bluntly, Trump has just been lying about these negotiations since the beginning. Trump said that we are in talks with Iran. That's not true. We're not talking to Iran. We are passing messages through intermediaries, but there are no negotiations, there's no diplomacy, and there's not even direct contact. So that's a lie. Trump has said that Iran begged him to extend the deadline for the ultimatum. That's not true. Iran denies this. Trump went out last week and said that Iran agreed to every point in the 15-point plan that he proposed to them. None of that is true. Iran has their own plan, their own proposal to end conflict, and it's almost the opposite of what Trump demanded. Trump is demanding surrender on every issue, and Iran is demanding that the U.S. pay them reparations, close all their bases, give them the Strait of Hormuz, and lift all the sanctions. So that's a lie as well. So you have to ask yourself, what accounts for the 180 in 24 hours? How did Trump go from, there's all these deadlines, these rolling deadlines, Iran must open the Strait or else? And the threats keep escalating, keep getting more severe. They have 48 hours or we attack the power grid. Actually, they have 5 more days. Actually, they have 10 more days. And actually, if they don't follow through, we'll bomb all the civilian infrastructure. How do you account for that? And if there's a diplomatic resolution to the conflict, why then is Trump lying about every step of the way? And why is he lying about it seemingly to time the markets? Over the weekend, the rhetoric is bellicose. Over the weekend, the rhetoric is we're on war footing, we're about to escalate, we're going to annihilate them. Then when the markets open on Monday, diplomacy is back, and it seems like they're going to budge, and we're already there, basically. We've already made the deal. These are some of the things that Trump has said in the past week. Moreover, and this is the biggest one. So, the White House is telegraphing that the war is about to come to a close. Well, if that's the case, why then is a third aircraft carrier headed to the Middle East right now? You know how much it costs to operate an aircraft carrier on a daily basis? It's like $15 million a day. And so you're going to have 3 carrier strike groups, the Lincoln, the Ford, and the George Bush, all in the Middle East. That is on top of the increase in our presence in the Middle East, 5,000 Marines, 5,000 paramilitary, and 10,000 other ground forces. Why are they being deployed to the region? So you have a 180, you've got the fake peace talks timed to coincide with the market opening and closing, and then you've actually got an increasing presence in the Middle East. You've actually got a bigger footprint, a bigger posture than you ever did at any time in the conflict. More carrier strike groups, more troops, Marines ready to go. So what are we to make of all this? Well, as I've said over the past few weeks, if we take history as a guide, every time that we have dealt with Iran, or even Iran proxies for that matter, like Hezbollah or Hamas, it seems that the peace agreements are always a ruse. Negotiations are always a fake out. Last year, were Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner actually seeking a real nuclear deal? I don't know that they really were. I do know that those peace talks began the day that Netanyahu visited the White House, and after the 60 days expired, it gave Israel and the United States time to plan and to create the favorable conditions for their attack against Iran in Rising Lion and Midnight Hammer last June. The same thing happened this year. The White House engaged Iran in negotiations, and the entire time, they were moving 50% of our deployable Air Force to the Middle East, moving 2 carrier strike groups to the Middle East. And so is this time any different? This is to me deja vu all over again. It's more talk of negotiations, more talk of diplomacy. And the headlines and the lead always talks about how positive things are going. It's productive, it's constructive. Both sides walked away pleased with their progress. It always goes that way. But upon further inspection, when you look at the deployments that are happening, upon further inspection, when you look at the 2 positions of either side in the negotiation, what you realize is the talks are not making any progress at all. They're not making any progress towards each other. They both have the right lines, and they're both sticking to them.
Andrew Tate.
Okay, our $100 a month club is spamming the group chat because it just turned midnight on April Fool's Day. Very good. I'm just going to turn Do Not Disturb on. That's hilarious. Making me lose my. I'm literally getting 500 messages from the group chat. April Fool's is very funny.
Improve your mobility and be
so, like I said, history is our judge. The way this plays out over and over and over again is that you have these negotiations, they're a farce, and they're a farce that gives the United States breathing room to plan and execute and mobilize.
The idea is to make a quick movement to the side to change your position and surprise your opponent, and obviously, it works in both directions. One mistake a lot of people make is jumping too late and going straight forward. What you want to do is jump a bit earlier and start moving to the right as you're moving forward. I'd recommend starting at faster speed to get that sprint feeling, then gradually slow it down until you can pull it off at normal speed. After you've got the side jump nailed, level it up. Add a ramp to gain height, then start sprinting to make the whole move even quicker. At this point, you should be able to start learning the 2 best side jumps used by top players, the ones that let you move up 2 layers at once. You can then use them to get out of your box, reposition quickly, gain height, bait your opponent by changing direction, or even box him when he's 2 layers above you. Start mixing them into your free builds to nail the timing, then try using them in actual fights, and you'll be good to go.
This is a normal side jump. This is a quick side jump. This is a full sprint side jump. Sprint, jump, pole build, all at the same time. And you get this. This is a normal side jump. This is a quick side jump. This is a normal side. This is a normal side. Side jump. This is a quick side jump. This is a full sprint side jump. Sprint, jump, pole build, all at the same time. And you get this.
Hey, what's up with y'all? Today I'm going to show you guys how to do side jumps and the most overpowered side jump in the game. We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of side jumps. And if you continue to watch this video all the way through, your side jumps will go.
So the first side jump you need to learn is putting a ramp, cone, wall, and jumping out into a floor. It's going to look like this. Once you get a little more advanced, you put a cone as well. So you practice it like this. Once you can do this pretty much every single time, you could go into a 90. That's going to be the second one. And to practice this and to get harder, you could go into a double 90. Try to just keep going on forever. Okay, the third one you're going to want to learn is the high wall. Come up there and box someone. Go the other way. High wall. Box. Before we get into the last one, it's really important to get really good at this high wall one. And 2 tips for always getting the high wall is to jump really high. Like if you barely make it onto the floor, you're not going to reach high enough for the high wall. Then the second tip is to visualize where you need to look. If you'll notice, you can place the wall once you look above where it's... Okay, so the last one is...
A military strike. It seems like maybe that's the play all over again, but it could go either way. It's hard to tell right now. We are in the fog of war, and honestly, nobody knows, other than the president, other than the national security team, whether we are going to withdraw immediately or whether we're going to escalate and we're going to try some sort of amphibious landing. The last piece of information in the puzzle is these other countries that are involved in this. And so ostensibly, we are negotiating with Iran through intermediaries like Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Turkey. And consider that many of these countries, at least one of these countries, is actively seeking Iran's destruction. Although initially, some of these countries were reluctant to support our war in Iran, now they are the biggest cheerleaders. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, all of these countries are now lobbying Washington that they want us to continue the war. They want us to continue until the Iranian regime is toppled. And they're telling us we can't leave until we finish the job. Now, and this was reported today, the United Arab Emirates has pledged that they will actually intervene in the conflict in an offensive way. They may support the United States with their air force. They may provide territory for the United States as a staging ground to invade some of the islands in the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf. And this is a story from the Wall Street Journal about that. It says, quote, the UAE is preparing to help the United States and other allies open the Strait of Hormuz by force, say Arab officials, move to make it the first Persian Gulf country to become a combatant. The UAE is lobbying for a UN Security Council resolution that would authorize such action, and Iraqi diplomats have urged the US and military powers in Europe and Asia to form a coalition to open the strait by force. The UAE officials said the country was actively reviewing how it could play a military role in securing the strait, including efforts to help clear it of mines and other support services. The Gulf state has also said the US should occupy islands in the strategic waterway, including Abu Musa, which has been held by Iran for half a century and is claimed by the UAE. Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states are now turning against Iran's regime and want the war to continue until it is disabled or toppled. The UAE has bases, a deep water port, and a location near the entrance to the Strait of Hormuz that could be useful staging ground for a US-led operation to seize islands or to escort commercial tankers through the waterway. Now, what is interesting about this is if you were paying attention, last week, Iran's parliamentary speaker went to the press and said he knows that the U.S. is preparing an amphibious invasion. He also said he knows that one of the Gulf countries will be assisting in the invasion. And he said that Iran would punish that country, would not spare any of their critical infrastructure. Well, does that not line up with what is happening? When you look at the Western press, when you look at the American press, what are they saying? Well, the American press is saying the war is about to end. Trump is looking for a way out. They're saying 2 to 3 weeks. They've canceled their plans to invade because that goes beyond their 2 to 3 week deadline. Trump is getting bored. He wants to move on. So-and-so said this. An unnamed source said that. This is in the Western media. They're saying there's peace talks, diplomacy. Trump is brokering deals with intermediaries. They're willing to leave without taking this right back. But if you look at what Iran has been saying the entire time, we're not negotiating with the United States. We don't want to. They're saying this isn't even the time to end the war. The war's going to go on until we say it stops. So forget about we're in negotiations. Iran is telling us they're not even interested in negotiations. They're telling us they don't trust us. They're telling us the 15-point plan is a non-starter for negotiations. They're telling us forget it. You tried to kill us. You failed. Now you want to sue for peace. We don't think so. We want to make it hurt a little bit longer. So Iran's calling BS on that. When Trump extended the deadline and said Iran begged for this, Iran said that's a lie. Trump only said that because he wants to reassure the oil market in the United States, which is probably true as well. And while the entire Western media is telegraphing that the war's about to end, Iran has been saying since last week they are anticipating an amphibious assault with the UAE helping them. And it's reported today with all this fanfare about an imminent surrender that the UAE not only do they not want the war to end, but actually they're going to help. Actually, they're going to allow us to use their territory. They may even provide their air force to help us topple the government. And so, as I said, this could go either way. This is the fog of war, and this is a disinformation strategy. They are flooding the zone with mixed signals because they want everybody to be off balance. And as I said last night, they want everybody to be off balance. They want Iran to not know the next move. If we're going to invade, they want Iran not to anticipate that. But they're also trying to deceive the Gulf countries. And they're trying to convince the Gulf countries that if they don't provide more assistance, we will abandon this project, which they believe will be very beneficial for them. And we're bluffing to Asia and Europe that we will end the conflict without freeing the Strait of Hormuz to put pressure on them to help us in this military operation. And I think the only way that you can consider all of this information is this is a deliberate misinformation strategy. This is part of the conduct of the war in itself, and this is meant to leverage the different pieces that are in place. Trump wants Europe and Asia to help him. He wants the Gulf countries to play a bigger role. He wants buy-in from these nations because he knows that if Iran isolates Israel and the United States, then we lose. If Iran can negotiate with every other country and get these oil products out to sea and sell the oil and collect their coal, then they won. And if the United States is not able to topple the regime without a ground war, well, the pressure's only going to mount in the United States against the conflict. They've won that too. So this is the current predicament that we find ourselves in. I would not be surprised if we get an invasion this weekend. If I had to make a prediction, if I had to, and I don't want to, because I want to stress it could go either way. I think the sensible thing at this point would be to leave and turn our attention to Israel. How do we get in this conflict? Well, currently Israel forced our hands. I don't think a deal with Iran is impossible, but it is impossible if Israel is sabotaging it as a matter of their grand strategy. If their doctrine is fundamentally about undermining diplomacy between Iran and the United States, then yes, the deal is impossible. But if we can push Israel outside the process while we build trust over time and negotiate with a weekend by emboldened Iran, it's possible we can achieve diplomacy. But first we have to take care of closest ally. That being said, if I had to make a prediction, I would guess tomorrow is more theater. I would guess that tomorrow is a big fake out. It's April Fool's. I think that Trump is going to go out there. He's going to tout all of his accomplishments. All the MAGA tards are going to say that it's 4D chess. Trump said he was going to give a primetime speech and troll the media into covering him, brag about his presidency. I think he's going to extol everything we've done in the war. But I don't think he's going to end the hostilities. I think it might be a big nothing murder. And I would not be surprised if by the weekend, which is just shy of the deadline again, Trump gave the ultimatum on Friday that they have until, or pardon me, on Thursday. Trump gave them the deadline of April 6th. So they have until Monday, when the markets open again. And so when we fit all the timelines together, Trump's deadline, the market open on Monday, the arrival of the Marine Expeditionary Unit, the paratroopers, the third carrier, all this fanfare surrounding a peace deal or a withdrawal from the conflict, it all points toward potentially a major escalation by the end of this week, at minimum at the end of this weekend. And what D. Head said this morning specifically is he said the next few days are going to be the most decisive days in the war. Well, what is that? If we're about to declare surrender, then what does that mean? If we're about to surrender, then why do you need another carrier strike group? And why would it be decisive in the final day, if that's the case? And why would Trump be re-upping the deadline still? Why would we make the threat on Sunday to destroy their infrastructure if by Wednesday he's ready to resign? It doesn't add up. And what it points toward is they are bluffing, trying to get every resource they can to get buy-in from other countries. They want, if Iran is going to go to war with the global energy market, we want Iran to really own it. We're sort of calling their bluff. Okay, Iran wants to make energy more expensive for everybody because they're going to hold the Strait hostage with drones and missiles. Well, try that with the British Royal Navy. Try that with the French Navy. Try that with Japan, South Korea, India. He wants to draw in the other countries so that they are stakeholders, because then that puts Iran in a much more isolated position. Where if they are going to follow through on the closure of the Strait, it now forces them into a confrontation with all the other G7 countries. Now you're not just bombing the United States and Israel and these Gulf countries, but now you're also bombing the UK, France, Japan, India, South Korea. And all this talk about we're going to leave without closing the Strait, it makes sense when you consider that, again, that is going to hit Asia first, Europe second, and it's only going to hurt us in terms of price. Who's going to have an energy shortage in 2 weeks? Malaysia, maybe India, maybe China, South Korea, Japan. They're going to face it first. And then who's going to start rationing jet fuel and other fossil fuel products? Europe. We'll do it right after that. And then at the very end of the chain is going to be the United States, which is going to deal with some mild inflation. And it might be disastrous, it might pop the AI bubble, it might cause a recession, but it's going to happen to us at the end of the cycle rather than the beginning. And that's clearly bluff. We're going to leave without opening the Strait, and whose problem is that really going to be? Well, that's a you problem for now. And what is left unsaid is, well, but if you help us, then maybe we can help you. If you contribute your navy, if you contribute in some way, then we'll help you. And he's saying the same thing effectively to the UAE and KSA. He's telling the Saudis and the Emiratis, look, you want us to topple Iran? Well, our back hurts. We're ready to leave. And if you want to go in, then you go in. You want to take back those islands, then we need your territory. We need your air power. Maybe we need your boots on the ground. But it seems to be that all of this is one giant messaging op. I've seen it everywhere all day today. Well, Lindsey Graham says the war should end. Oh, well, Netanyahu says Iran doesn't pose a threat. Well, quite honestly, we've heard all this before. We've heard all these statements before. And I think it doesn't change the reality on the ground, which is that we're still fighting, we're deploying more assets, not withdrawing them. And I will add, they made it the point to say that Iran has fired the least amount of projectiles since the beginning of the war. Maybe that has some bearing on the potential success of an amphibious assault. The only thing that is deterring the U.S. Navy from entering the Persian Gulf is we're afraid that Iran will hit us with a missile or a drone. And the only reason that it is a very high risk, high reward operation to take Card Island or one of the other islands is because we know those islands will be bombarded by missiles and drones. Well, if we have intelligence that Iran is running out, if they have launched fewer missiles today than ever before and it's tapering off all the time, then maybe the idea is they just don't have enough weapons to deter this. And this is what we need. To end the war, we need to save face. We need some dignity. How do we do that? We need to win. What can we do that we haven't done? Well, we can't invade on the ground, on the mainland. Maybe we can take an island. Oh, well, you'll never get to the island because of the drones and missiles. Well, not if you prepare for 3 weeks. Not if you bomb Card Island's military assets. Not if you move missile defense systems into place. Not if you move the attack helicopters into place. And if Iran runs out of drones and missiles or is running low, then the attack helicopters will have an easier job shooting them down. And your concentrated layered air defense system will have an easier job shooting down Iranian missiles. And that allows the Marines to land, make a beachhead, repair the runway, repair the other facilities, and then they can begin flying the paratroopers and the other ground forces. They can say mission accomplished, and then maybe they can dictate terms to Iran. I think that might be the playbook here. But it's hard to say because we're being told both things at the same time. At once we're being told Iran is under a deadline. The pressure is on. They have until Monday. On the one hand, they're telling us the Pentagon has put 10,000 soldiers on notice. They're telling Marine reservists to get ready to go to war. Iran is denying the existence of peace talks. It goes on and on and on like this. So I refuse to believe that they're telling the truth and the war is about to end. However, I hope that this happens. So that's the unfolding situation in the war. Like I said, there's really not too much to cover tonight. I guess we'll move on. We'll talk a little bit about the East Wing of the White House, although it's not too exciting. You've already basically heard it, but it's a really short show. Not too much going on. One more is really to say. We sort of know where all of this is headed. But our final story, and then we'll get into the super chats, is a story about the White House. And again, this is not a major news story, but it just goes to show. It's another taco. Trump always chickens out on everything. And I'll actually add something to this which makes it even better. So, as you know, President Trump has demolished the East Wing of the White House. Why? Well, he believes the White House doesn't have an adequate and a regal ballroom. When foreign leaders visit the White House, there's no dedicated area to receive them. And so the only spaces they have for a proper event are pretty small and dingy. So Trump wants to host. He wants to host big parties, bring people around, He wants to have an adequate Mar-a-Lago Trump Tower-esque space where he can invite Putin and Xi Jinping and not feel totally outclassed by these other dictators. So Trump has demolished the East Wing, and he is now building a giant structure on the White House to house this massive ballroom. Well, the big story from today is that we are very thoroughly into the process. Trump has demolished the East Wing, this historic East Wing. I think it's been around for about 70, 100 years. Trump has demolished the East Wing. They're building this unbelievable structure. Apparently, there's going to be some kind of military command center underneath, and then there's going to be a giant structure that's bigger than the actual White House on top of it. And today, a federal judge filed an injunction that prevents Trump from moving forward on the plan. And this is a story from Axios. It says, quote, a federal judge on Tuesday temporarily blocked President Trump's sprawling plans to build a massive ballroom where the East Wing of the White House once stood. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon said Trump is the steward, not the owner of the White House, and that the project must stop until Congress authorizes its completion. Leon granted the National Trust for Historic Preservation's request for a preliminary injunction, halting the administration's fast-track plan. The trust has argued that the White House needs congressional approval for the extensive renovation, and said in the filing earlier this month that the president is a temporary tenant of the White House, its steward, not its landlord. The National Trust sued the president and other federal agencies, arguing the demolition violated the Constitution, and asked the judge to block construction until a required review process. The complaint said, quote, no president is legally allowed to tear down portions of the White House without any review whatsoever, not Trump, not Biden, and not anyone else. And this is sort of symbolic. Isn't this sort of symbolic of all of it? Trump is like the supervillain in Jimmy Neutron who can never finish anything. It's like a half-eaten sandwich, a half-eaten thing over here, half-finished project over there. Like, what honestly is going on? So Trump does the Liberation Day tariffs. Liberation Day is coming. We're going to change everything. We're going to overthrow the international trade order. And it's like they crammed all of it an hour before the deadline. Then they came out with a formula for the tariffs, and it was this very crude algorithm. It was like a linear equation, how they determined the actual tariff rate for every country on planet Earth. It wasn't by sector, it wasn't by product, it was just a formula based on what percentage of imports and exports they had. And they had to walk it back. And then there was Greenland. We're going to invade Greenland. We have to have it. NATO put a half dozen troops there. We said, you know what? Never mind. We're good. We go all out in a war with Iran. Literally telling everybody we're going to war for regime change. They have been a problem for 47 years. That comes to an end. We're going to kill their leader, do everything. And then they take the Strait of Hormuz and there's nothing we can do. It's like everything is like this. And then Trump tears down the East Wing. It's a total eyesore. He destroys 1/3 of the White House. And only a year in, a federal judge comes in and says, you know, that's not technically legal. What you're doing is not. So now we just have a destroyed White House. And this is kind of how this whole administration is, which is we are playing a very dangerous game. It's very disruptive. There's a ton of collateral damage and casualties. If we fail, we die. And yet, all of this is being undertaken in a totally ad hoc and spontaneous way. Before you tear down the White House, you don't want to get the permits in order? You didn't ask Congress? Yeah, let's just blow up the White House first. Then ask questions later. FBI, I mean like what Trump is doing. Let's demolish the East Wing of the White House first, and we'll figure the legal stuff out later. Let's kill the supreme leader of Iran first. Maybe they'll close the strait. They probably won't. We'll figure that out later. Everything is like this. And even, this is the other thing I wanted to add. At the same time that this decision was made, you have a Supreme Court decision coming down on birthright citizenship. You ready for this? So a year ago, during the blitz of the opening months of the second Trump administration, during the high period of Golden Age, in the era of the high Golden Age, in the first 2 or 3 months of the Trump administration, Trump signed an executive order overturning birthright citizenship. It was hailed as a victory. Everybody said this is amazing. See, we can just do things. We're wielding executive power. We can just do things. And this is why you needed to trust the plan, because now Trump has overturned birthright citizenship, and that's the most important thing of all time. And you go, do you really believe that the president of the United States can sign a memorandum? Because that's really what an executive order is. It's a memorandum. It's a memo. The executive branch has no legislative power other than to veto. They can propose a budget, they can veto legislation, they can nominate Supreme Court judges and nominate cabinet officials. But as far as the legislative process is concerned, the legislation originates in Congress. So what an executive order is it's an MO. Who is it addressed to? The departments and agencies that execute the laws that are passed by Congress. Legislative, executive, judicial. The legislative legislates, the executive executes, the judicial adjudicates. So the president cannot make laws, cannot change laws. What the president can do is sign memorandums that determine the application and enforcement of the laws by the various federal departments and agencies. Now, do you believe that Trump has the authority with a memo to deprive, I don't know, 20 million people of their citizenship, however many people it is? How many people have birthright citizenship? How many people have naturalization because they were born on the land? Does anybody believe that Trump can sign a memo and take all that citizenship away for all those people? Obviously, that's not legal. But Trump submitted that last year, and everybody counted that like a victory. Everybody said, oh, well, we did it, so that's done now. That's on the ledger. That's a good thing that Trump did. Well, here we are now. The Supreme Court is adjudicating this, and they're about to tell us that no, you can't overturn birthright citizenship. Trump is on True Social yesterday saying the Supreme Court is terrible because he's anticipating that they're going to strike it down. He's actually going to hear the oral arguments in court tomorrow. And so you say at a certain point, how much losing is enough? On every issue, literally every issue, big and small, significant and insignificant, every issue, it's a taco. Maybe that's why I'm a specialist. Maybe that's why you need a Mexican to come in and discern these things. Because every issue is a taco. Trump always chickens out. Chickens out on Greenland, on terrorists, on Russia, on Iran, on the Strait of Hormuz. Chickens out with the European Union. Chickens out with the East Wing of the White House, on mass deportations, on birthright citizenship, on the border wall. It's literally every single thing. And who cares? But here's the point about all of it. This is why I didn't want Trump to win, because a half-assed dictator is worse. There's no such thing as a half-assed coup. You can't coup the hegemonic left-wing system and go halfway. You can't be like Trump and say, mass deportations, we're going to arrest our opponents, we're going to seize control of the voter rolls. You can't say all these things and try to do all these things and only get halfway and give up. You can't start that, open up that can of worms. You're arresting James Comey, you're arresting these judges, you're suing the media, you destroy the White House. Destroy the White House. And then halfway through go, you know what? Never mind, we didn't plan for this. You know what? Never mind, we didn't think it through. Can we go back? The terrorists got overturned. Birthright citizenship, executive order got overturned. Mass deportations, they back down. Greenland, they back down. China, they back everything they back down. And you know what happens when you go all the way or try and you fail? Well, the people that you tried to kill, they tend to then, in turn, kill you. That is what happens. If you go for the king, you better kill him. If you go for the king, you better not miss. You want to know why? Because if you take a shot and you miss, there's a very good chance the king turns around and kills you. Because kings don't like when you try to kill them. And that is really what the Trump movement is. That is what the second term, that is how you can summarize the entire thing. Half measures on everything. Half measures against Iran, half measures against free trade, against immigration. And all this is going to do is charge up the pendulum. That's all we're doing. We are just sending energy and momentum to the pendulum, to this wrecking ball that is going to swing so hard the other way, it's going to bury us for a generation. Honest to God, I'm leaving the country. If we're more likely win, and a Democrat wins in 2028, I'm leaving America. And when I say that, I don't mean like I'm leaving America because like I don't like the way things are going. I mean they're going to try to kill us. That's what I mean. They're going to try to kill us. And they're not hiding it. J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, said when we get in, we're going to hold everybody liable. Excuse me, not criminally, but civilly. We're going to hold everybody who was part of this thing liable. And not just the government employees. We're going after everybody. I'm not sticking around to find out what an anthropic-powered, Obama, dark woke agenda is going to look like. I'm going to flee the country. I'm going to see how it shakes out. I'm going to monitor the situation. And I saw there's some plan trusters out there, and they're saying, well, the problem is you don't want to be all in. Like you're shying away from Trump because you're getting cold feet, and you don't want to take the fight to the left. And you know what? That's 100% true. I saw John Doyle video about this the other day. John Doyle said, if you find yourself criticizing Trump, pandering to the left, he said, this is about you getting cold feet, and you want out of the fight. And it's like, yeah, I am. I'm not on a suicide mission with Trump. Gavin Newsom, if you can hear me, I'm not with him. Gavin Newsom, he's over there. He went that way. He did it. Don't look at me. I voted for Hitler. Trump went that way. Get him, Gavin. I'm over. And you want to know why? Because everyone with a brain knew that Trump was not a fucking serious person. If Trump were serious, okay, I would ride. If Trump were legit, bro, my heart goes out to him. If Trump were a legit Caesar Augustus figure, dude, send the army. My heart goes out to you. I'm there. and you know, death penalty, bring it forth, like, and we will do whatever we want to them. But we all knew that Trump is not serious. Trump is not competent. His team are idiots or scammers or Jews. I repeat myself, or they're incompetent. He is terrible. His people are terrible. And we saw this movie before. So part of the reason why I told people not to vote and why I thought maybe Kamala would be better is because we know that Trump, like before, is barking up the wrong tree. He is calling out and attacking the most powerful people in the world, or working with them in some cases, but with zero willingness or ability to actually defeat them or finish the job. He doesn't cross the Rubicon and march on Rome and do what must be done. He goes in the Rubicon and kind of hangs out in there. And he chills out on True Social and says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Never mind. Actually, we're good. Actually, what I meant is that we won the whole time. And if you play that way, then we're all going to die. So you're damn right. You're damn right. I am not repeating the mistake of the first term. And here's the difference. I was actually at January 6th. I was actually at Charlottesville. Let me tell you something. I sacrificed a lot for this movement. A lot. I went to Charlottesville and got my life destroyed. I wore a MAGA hat everywhere and became a social pariah and professionally ostracized. And I did the stupid internet show and I bought into all the nonsense about immigration and bro science and the conspiracy theories and all this crap. And when Trump said the election was stolen, I showed up to the rally, stop the steal. And I showed up on January 6th and I got royally fucked all over again. I got my money frozen. I got put on a no-fly list. I got censored. Trump didn't do a damn thing to help anybody. Didn't pardon everybody when he had the chance to in 2021. He didn't lift a finger to stop tech censorship when he was president the first time. And all the people that campaigned and volunteered for him, one by one, he threw them under the bus. And they weren't even hired in the administration or they were allowed to be ostracized by people that hate Trump. I learned my lesson. And I said, I'm not doing it again. I'm not riding for this guy. Look at what happened. We knocked on the doors. We wore the stupid hat. People got fired from their jobs, got their asses kicked, got banned on Twitter, got banned on Uber for this guy. People went to the Stop the Steal rallies, got in prison for this guy because he asked us to. He asked us to show up. And you know what happened on J6? He fucked around. On J6, he could have went and said, I'm going to the Capitol and I'm not leaving. He didn't do that. He waited too long. He let everybody storm the Capitol. Then hours later said, you know what, never mind, forget it. I'm going to go home like a good boy. And then everyone went to jail for 5 years. And now we're doing it all over again. And look at what Trump is doing. He blew up the White House. You got these ICE raids, and they're literally doing them performatively just to piss off the left. Charlie Kirk is dead. He got shot in the face. What has Charlie Kirk profited from this movement? Charlie Kirk got shot in the face because he is a lieutenant of the MAGA movement, and Trump didn't even give a shit. He got shot in the fucking head. And they said, what do you think about your friend Charlie Kirk being assassinated today? And he said, oh, it's bad. Anyway, if you look at the East Wing, we're doing an amazing job. So I just learned my lesson. And I said, no, I'm not committing suicide for this movement. It's not going to work. And if it's not going to work, then I'm not going to be a part of it. Because I'm not going to put all that back on the line for a movement that isn't serious. You want supporters, you want loyalty, you got to take it seriously. You got to play win. You got to be all in. You can't be selling Trump coin. You can't be doing a Melania feature film in the theaters. You can't be cutting deals like that. You can't be getting an airplane from Qatar and doing all the graft and embezzlement that's going on and expecting everybody to go out and hate for this stuff. I don't want to be there when Antifa starts cutting everybody's heads off. You're damn right. You're damn right. We're going to say, hey, you know, we're not with Trump. Absolutely. Absolutely. So like I said, if Gavin Newsom is looking for Trump, I'm going to tell him where he is. Forget it. Forget it. It's a two-way street. That's what I see with this White House thing, with the birthright citizenship. It's just like, at what point do you realize you got scammed? You got promised a bunch of things they never intended to deliver. And you know they never intended to do it because it's not serious. It's not serious. They're embarking on all these things without doing their due diligence. It's not airtight. These are all unforced errors. And what you're left with is idiots picking up the pieces and trying to find catharsis on Twitter saying he squandered our coalition. Bro, he don't give a shit about the coalition. You do. He wipes his ass with the coalition you're crying about. He is literally, when he is telling people, if you still care about the Epstein files, I don't need your vote. He's wiping his ass with the coalition that you're crying about, you're clinging to, you're hugging and kissing. I can't believe this coalition, we were really going to do it. It was going to be a golden age and we were going to have deportations. And from those deportations, how about a war with Iran? The sooner you learn this, the better. Take your own side. Anyway, that's that. We are going to move on. We're going to get into our super chat. We'll see what you guys have to say about all this. Ain't that the truth, though? That's how I feel about it. And I know that's not particularly uplifting, maybe that's cynical, but it's just true. You know, what I noticed about all these plan trusters is none of them had any problems on J6. They didn't. All these so-called plan trusters, they never got banned from anything. They never got imprisoned or messed with in any way after J6. They paid no price. They came in at the tail end of it, got famous off of it, got a job off of it. And that's why it's easy for them to continue to pay for this, because for them it's still a game. They're not in the revolutionary wing. They're not in the revolutionary struggle. So anyway, but we're going to take a look. We'll see what you guys have to say about all this. Let me get set up here, and we'll see what we got. Okay, let's see. Is that a thing? I haven't seen that one. I have no idea. You have to ask him. You've been reading Make America Talk Again? That guy's the worst, man. Could you imagine? It's actually sad. There are people out there. Somewhere out there actually exist people that are buying that book and reading it. There is a grandma, a grandpa, there's a crazy aunt who's taking her ivermectin and hydrochloroquine, whatever, and she's picking up a copy. She's on Amazon. Rylan, I just bought your book. I can't wait to read it. I bought a couple of copies for my kids. And they're reading Make America Talk Again by Rylan Hallian. I'm not some campaign consultant. I'm an 18-year-old freshman. I think we need to have more conversation. Bro, what are we going to say? What more do you want to say to these fucking people? What can we say to these people? You want to make America talk again? Let me take you to the ghetto, little nigga. You want to make America talk again? Why don't you go to Howard University? Go talk over there, dumbass. Make America talk again. Tell that to that Palestinian that the JDL tried to explode last week in New York. Make America. The time for arguments is over. To borrow a phrase, the time for arguments has passed. Make America. But isn't that sometimes you have to really be aware of how dull your average person really is. And you'll know that when you read YouTube comment section. You'll know that when you see this kind of slop and realize that people are buying it and reading it and they're thinking it's insightful. He said, the guys in suits told me I was crazy to write a book as a freshman. Who? No, they didn't. No one told you that. Your dad is loaded. Your dad is rich. And he probably told you to write a book. And some dumbass publisher that publishes all this toilet paper took you up on it. Said, yeah, what the heck? Write a fucking 120-page book about free speech on a college campus. Are you kidding me? Like, they told me not to do it. Who exactly told you not to do this? What are the names? Give me a description. Who are the people that told the suits told me not to write a book about free speech? Cool. Who told you not to do that? Me? Am I the guy that's hey, I'm wearing a suit? Yeah. Sadder still is that there are people that buy into that nonsense. It's actually crazy. It's depressing. If you think too much about it, it'll make you want to kill yourself. Did I say that to you? If I did, I apologize. I would never say that to an elder, honest to God. If I said that to you, I really sincerely apologize. I say kill yourself to the kiddos, but if you're an older woman, I would never say anything like that to you. Sometimes I don't, the username doesn't always register, I just hear the message and lose my mind. So if I said that, I'm sorry. I would never say that to I could be your grandma. I'd say that to one of these whippersnappers. I'd say that to one of these knuckleheads, but no, I didn't mean that. Yeah, well, good for him. And if you believe him, congratulations. Yeah, I don't know what his deal is, man. It's just like, just stop, bro, stop, please. It's so hard to watch. I just don't know why he's going down this path. I think he just doesn't want to be Uncle Tom. That's like he's got this racial hang-up where he just doesn't want to be Uncle Tom. And I don't know what that is. I'm not touching that, but that's the thing. This whole like, oh yeah, well he won the soccer game. Take that, Italy. That'll show you. It's like, bro, it's really not that deep. Like no one cares that much. Like what's the hang-up there? Just spill, bro. Just keep it buck. What the fuck is your problem with white people? What is your fucking problem with Christ in America? Because there's always this like resentful undertone. It's always this racial resentment underneath all of it, where it's like, oh, you think Jesus was a white guy in a shirt and tie? He was brown. It's like, well, technically it doesn't even really matter. Like, yeah, obviously Jesus wasn't English, dumbass, but like, you know, so why is that important for you to say, yeah, well, your God was brown like me? It's like, what even is that? Okay, he was Eastern Mediterranean. He was God. It's sort of missing the point. It's shit like that. You know, racial supremacy is the root of all evil. White supremacy is why do you care if white people think they're better than, like, how does that affect you? White people have a very solid claim to being the greatest race, and I wouldn't even necessarily count myself among them. You want to know where all the achievement happened according to Charles Murray? You know this. Almost all human achievement occurred in this narrow polygon in like northern Italy, eastern France, Germany, the nether, the Low Countries, Denmark, and England. And I don't have ancestors anywhere there. My ancestors are from Ireland, allegedly Portugal, Mexico, and Italy. Southern Italy. So we can just say, yeah, I mean, look, if you're German, if you're white, it's like, congratulations, thank you for inventing everything. I could say that if I'm not white, I could say that if I'm white. It's a fact. But he's just got this like hang up somewhere. White people think they're better than me. Ah, man, that pisses me off. It's like, let it go. Let it go. Who cares? Everyone has a right to be proud of who they are. Everyone has a right, on some level, deep down, you know, to be a bit chauvinistic. Now, we have to be polite and respectful to other people. I think we should pursue a harmonious relationship, and that means that we should be graceful and charitable. But I don't think there's anything wrong with when you get together with your people, you take either some chauvinism. Hey, nobody doesn't like us. What's wrong with that? So, I don't know, man. We gotta forgive our mother. We gotta do some serious introspection. We gotta let go of the pain that we have left behind. Okay, what is that? We don't need to hold on to pain we've left behind, Sneeko. To borrow a phrase, let it go. Forgive Hitler today. Good night. Forgive white supremacy today. Racism is the root of all evil. Like, what? Do you hear yourself? You sound like a lesbian. Racism is the root of all evil. Okay, Rachel Maddow, is it time for transgender story hour now? Time for our Soylent meal drinks and a transgender drag queen story hour? Intramural transgender soccer match followed by drag queen story time? For fuck's sake. It's crazy. Yeah, you're right, Beth. You are right. Sneeko's making me want to put the Burger King crown on. He's making me want to go full Burger King. Full crown. I love the guy, but bro, give it a rest. Every day it's like, just crying about racism, white people, white supremacy, blah, blah, the Christians, the West, America. Everyone's Islamophobic. Everyone hates Muslims. Dude, like, shut up. Always been they're Islamophobic. That's why they sing about Muslims. What about this? What about, like, bro, holy. It's unbelievable. Like, bro has taken the blue pill. Bro has gone. The blue pill won. Bro got blue pill as fuck. Bro got blue pill as fuck. It's actually insane. Like, come back. I feel like Padme. Come back. You're going down a path I cannot follow. You know, he's going full brown clown. I have brought Sharia. That doesn't really work, but whatever. Another gay. There's a gay. What's the SpongeBob TikTok? SpongeBob big guy? The shower cap in public is crazy. We just need to arrest people on site for wearing pajama pants. And I know that's like a boomer take, but seriously, in prison, everybody wearing pajama pants. In prison, everybody that is showing no decorum. Cry about it. Honestly, stuff like that is for pussies like you. You make Goyim look gay. Because Jews are so hardcore, they're wearing a little helmet that says like, we're gonna lynch everybody and take all your shit. And then Goyim have their like screaming whores on TV. That's not moral. You fucking bloodthirsty monster. It's like, why are you whore farming them? Why are you whore farming? You're just making them look awesome. Our country is, let's be honest, our women are whores, our men are flesh packers, and they go and cry on TV about the brutality of the Jews. We deserve to die. we deserve to lose. we deserve everything we have coming. Think about it. You know who runs the APAC Tracker Twitter account? Have you seen them? Have you ever even left the studio? Have you seen who runs APAC Tracker on Twitter? You know that Twitter account where they say, this guy took this much APAC money. It's like some fat, disgusting slob whore and some little gay guy. It's like, bro, our country is, our women are whores, our men are faggots, and these bleeding heart bitches go on TV and they cry about Israeli war crimes. It's like, Netanyahu, if you can hear us, please put us out of our misery. Netanyahu, if you can hear us, please. It's getting embarrassing to be a goy. Jared Kushner, take the seat. I'm kidding, of course, obviously joking. But seriously, it's like, seriously. You get people like Anna Kasparian, you know, screaming and yelling on TV about like, you bloodthirsty criminal. You're just whore farming them. So, I don't know, maybe we should be fearsome. Maybe we should be hardcore. You know, you're not hardcore unless you live hardcore. Maybe it's time for us to put a little Punisher skull on our helmets. Maybe it's time for us to put a little Punisher skull on the armband. You know? That's why I didn't like when Richard Spencer said that we should like anoint the Antichrist, but I did like when he said like, white people are the villain. We are the villain of history. We come down in a chariot from the sky shooting flaming arrows. We are the terror. It's like, yes. Yeah. We're the niggas your holy books warned you about. We're the sky gods your holy books warned you about. We're coming in from the air. We created sky gods, gods of thunder and lightning, and we're coming in hot dropping fucking bombs on your tribe. So I like that energy. Get me away from the Oliver Anthony, bleeding heart, liberal, brown clown, communist, third worldism. Raise up your sticks for Yahya. It's what he would have wanted. If we all get together and cry, maybe we could drown Israel in all of our tears. It's like, miss me with that. I want the Richard Spencer version. I want flaming arrows and flying chariots. I want Nazi flying saucers with swastikas on them. I want orbital strikes and rods of God being dropped on our enemies. I want a tungsten rod disengaging from a satellite in low Earth orbit, hurtling towards the Earth and devastating the continent. And that's what I want. And I want them to say about us what we say. Oh, this Sneeko's gonna hate. Sneeko's gonna say, yeah, you're just like the Zionists. Yeah, whatever, bro. Tell it to Yahya when you see him. If you see Yahya out in Jannah, say hi. Hey, listen. If you see Yahya in Jannah, tell him I said hi, bitch. It's up to Allah to forgive you. It's up to the white man to send you to him. That's a joke, obviously. We're not advocating for violence against Sneeko. But anyway, so that honestly, and those are my feelings. If I'm being perfectly honest, can I be honest? Can I tell you how I really feel? Am I free to go? Am I being detained? That's just how I feel. So when you say, what is it? Israeli ministers were wearing noose lapel pins and popping champagne to celebrate the death penalty was a sick insight into their depraved morality. It's like, holy, dude, is your pussy bleeding? Like, what's going on, dude? You sound like a pussy. You sound like a faggot. Our women are whores, our men are flag packers. Honestly, death penalty, no high laws, bring it forth. That's a joke, I'm kidding, obviously, but it's like, can it get more embarrassing to be a goy? Can it get more embarrassing? Let's get more busted whores and fat faggots to cry about, you know, war. Like that. The problem is they're becoming a superpower. We want to be the superpower. Don't you understand? The problem is, why did they get a New Jerusalem and we don't get a New Rome? That's my problem. Like, and yeah, what they're doing is immoral. Okay, we don't have the power to enforce our will. We need more power. We need more power in the world. So, don't cry about a lapel pin. Right, I know. That's crazy, yeah. That's crazy. I love how, did you read some of those quotes? One of the girls he was talking to, she was like, don't you know that your wife is cheating on you with Corey Lewandowski? He's like, I know, there's nothing I can do about it. Bro, so clear-pilled. So clear, he's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm putting the fake tits on. Next question. Is this about my fake tits? No, next question. My wife's cheating on me? Yeah, there's nothing I can do about it. Next. Your girl is, hey, you know what? Your girl is going. Even if you're married to Christian, your girl is going. She's going to Corey Lewandowski. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm joking, I'm kidding. Yeah, he's a blue-pilled degenerate. Yeah, we know. MVP, bringing down the Trump administration. Ah, very good. Well done. Oh, based! Oh, sick! Oh, let's go! Based? Now that's freaking traditional. Hey, that sounds like a great time. No, and no. Oh, great. Well, I don't think that's why I didn't like it, but okay. Yeah, I'm in on it, that's why. There's nothing I love more than that. Without you getting, like, it's odd, yeah, it's because I'm in AI, right? Because I'm AI. I'm an AI robot, that's why. Just indifferent. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, it's odd that you have AI is inevitable. What does that mean? Denounce it. You fucking idiots. You didn't denounce AI, and what does that do? I don't think that we will get AGI. I don't believe that AI possesses the qualifications for intellect. The intellect is the trinity of memory, will, and understanding. I don't think that AI will ever have will or understanding. It has memory. That's what it is. That's what a large language model is. It's effectively a probability machine. It's a guessing machine. It tries to guess what sounds most correct, but it doesn't understand, and it can't will. So I don't know that it even meets the qualifications of intelligence, of intellect. So I don't know that you ever get sentience, AGI. I'm deeply skeptical of claims that are made about it. But also technology is neutral. I use it, and I think it can increase productivity, but I also think that we should have regulations on it because it's clearly a very destabilizing technology. So, but I mean, you're one of these knuckle-dragging idiots that thinks that if we all just bury our head in the dirt, that like none of these things have to be dealt with intellectually. None of these things have to be dealt with politically. If all the stupid rubes go over there and shove their head in the cow shit, then, you know, we don't have to worry about the developments happening in the world. I denounce vaccines and AI and government and taxes and the internet. You know, it's like you can't actually just opt out of history. It doesn't work that way. And if you want to do that, then like go somewhere else. Fuck off and kill yourself. That's just so naive. I think he's a player. He's not closeted. He's a player. Bro is International Players Anthem. So, yeah, I don't buy it. I mean, okay, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know anything about that. I don't know what were they. Send them again. It's just like, it's physically, like, I can't do it anymore. I physically have to just lean out when I hear this. It was a Jewish commissioner. Whoa, yeah, because whatever. Yeah, it's all logical entailments. Is that even the question? Have you seen or heard him? $6 million? Well, yeah, all right, I guess I said. She doesn't even know me. She would hate me. She knows me. Like, I'm an incel. Okay, that's crazy. Well, holy, no, try not to go too based. We're gonna have a nuclear meltdown in the studio. Let's try not to have a Chernobyl-level incident with all this bait. And by the way, fuck Mark Fat Levin and Vanny Fat, fuck fine. It's just like, I can't even anymore. I can't. Thank you for that powerful super chat. Thank you for that powerful message. How do I feel about blah, blah, blah? It's terrific. Sure. Whatever. Honestly, just do whatever. Just hang out. Who's we? No, no one's doing it. Thanks. Yeah, I gave it the part test the other day. It's grown on me. I wasn't in love with it at first because I like the original versions of I Can't Dare, is it? And All the Love. I like the original, the Cuck versions, and the Bully V1 version. But I like it a lot now. It's grown on me. Well, what did you think was going to happen? Honestly, like, who would do that? Who would go and do that? I'm not saying it's justified, but it's like, did you think she was going to, like, what did you think would happen? So true. Thank you. Yeah, well, they're just going around it. I wish they would go around it. Yeah, that is true. The TL was like that. You like one tweet and you get 700 of the same. Okay, thanks. Leaving. Thank you for the I said it during the show. I literally outlined that during the show. Thank you for the big super chat. I think we should restrain Israel. Okay. What we talked about last night. Read the article. That's not what it's about. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. So true. Thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it. I don't know that's why that's happening. Really? Interesting. Glad to hear. Thank you for the big super chat. Good for you. I don't know. What is this? Like, what is this, guys? What is the biggest scam in modern society? I don't know, man. Life. I'm not. Okay, yeah, that's great. Okay, all right. That's where it just gets worse and worse. Yeah, thanks. Okay, that's our last super chat. That's gonna do it for me. Just brutal. Has it always been? I feel like it wasn't always as bad, but now it's just like trash. One garbage super chat after the. By the way, fuck Randy Vine. How does it feel to be vindicated? Like, when are you gonna find Ray LeBron? Like, what are we? Why? Like, what? Why? I can't even. So, all right. Well, that's the last one. Well, that's all I got for you. Remember to smash the follow button, smash the like button, leave a comment. I'm on the air Monday through Friday. As always, thanks for watching. Thank you to our top super chatters. Big thank you to Sabian, not GLP Bond, or JLP Bond. On my way, Valiant, Casio, Francesco, Tika, and Mr. Ice Cream. Thanks to them. Thanks to all our super chatters. Everybody that watches, we love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your evening.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. It's going to be only America first. America first. The American people will come first once again. With respect, the respect that we deserve. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
might be marketing red pill stuff that I think is kind of okay, but people like Sneeko are the result of reading it the wrong way. And it'd be really interesting to force them to both reconcile their differences of opinions. Where it's like, okay, you say things like this, and people like me say that. When you say stuff like that, people take it like this. And I hear Sneeko that believes this thing, so say that. Like, hash it out.
People mention, I don't go to college, my parents want me to go to college. So have you sat down with your parents and explained to them what you're going to do all those years instead? Have you sat there and said, look, I'm not going to go to college?
True! This obsession with not going to college, this is everybody that says this. If you have to ask, should I go to college? The answer is always yes.
I think a lot of people are saying, oh, my parents are trying to suppress me. No, what your parents are trying to do is
Trying to
lazy. All right, welcome. Yeah, we have to make sure we're live everywhere because we've done some technical wizardry. Myron's done some magic.
Like somebody told me at the end of all this, Andrew Tate is actually American? Is that true? So he's got like a South African / British accent / lives in Eastern Europe. He's half. Shit, you don't need to be half night. A really bright room for all these guys who are wearing sunglasses. It's not, what's happening?
We're live everywhere.
Turn the lights down.
Live on number 2? We're lit, man. Yeah, that's what it's about. Yeah, somehow.
We did, guys.
Yeah, sorry guys for being late. Since we added Sneeko to the panel, I had to go ahead and switch up the whole audio situation. So sorry for the delay. It's on me.
Welcome back, Andrew.
Yeah, man, thank you. It's good to be back. And I look forward to the chat asking some questions of the panel here. I've got some questions to ask you all. I'm going to have my good friends here on the show. Let me ask them some difficult questions. You have to answer. You can't not answer. You have to tell the truth.
God, what if he asks the question that I did? Like, I saw you talk to this Destiny guy. He said, how much money for your second date?
Wait, would you rather? Kind of. That's a bit high school, drinking gay. It's more just answer the question.
Okay, are you trying to say that we don't have immature?
I don't know about you, bro, but me, I'm always focused.
You want to tell that story?
He knew it wasn't coming home. He lost 10 G's for no reason.
Yeah,
We're degenerate.
we're degenerate. We're going to run around. And this is before I was saying slam. I couldn't even walk the streets like then. Now like I was back then. But yeah, I bet $10,000 for England to win. Of course, like they lost the medal like they always do. So it's never coming home. England is never coming home. I'm sorry. It's actually a shame when you talk about England because now the Queen's died. I feel like all the good things about England died with them. Not to be like pessimistic and sad on this stream, but all the beautiful things about England and all the things about the royal family and British, etc. all gone.
You really sad about the Queen dying?
100%, bro. You don't think kids and like each other's cousins?
Oh no, Sneeko's gone off way more like on the conspiracy side, I think, than like where Tate is. That's gonna be my guess. I would actually, you know what I would love to do? I don't think I can do this. I don't think they would be up for it. I would fly Romania for this. If I could do an interview with Sneeko and Andrew Tate and ask them both questions and make them talk to each other. Because I think in a way, now I am reading really hard to this, and I don't know, I could be really wrong, so I watched Andrew Tate stuff. But in a way, Andrew Tate might be marketing red pill stuff that I think is kind of okay, but people like Sneeko are the result of reading it the wrong way. And it'd be really interesting to force them to both reconcile their differences of opinions. Where it's like, okay, Tate, you say things like this, and people like me say that when you say stuff like that, people are gonna take it like this. And now here's Sneeko that believes this thing because he's heard you say that. Like, hash it out. That would be super interesting to see. Oh my god, it'd be so crazy. Not even for like an own age like debate, but it'd be really cool to see like their two perspectives clash.
Yes. I will say this. London was a great time. I don't want to live there, bro.
You know what? Maybe I'm naive. I know what Sneeko's saying, but maybe I'm naive. But I think a lot of the true degeneracy that you see in the world is semi-modern, and I don't think that Queen Elizabeth, who was alive and driving trucks during World War II, during World War II, she was driving trucks. She was in the army in World War II. She was into all this shit since the 30s. I don't think she did love her country, and I don't think that the world and the whole Commonwealth, because England was in charge of the Commonwealth, was unified behind her. And I think that the royal family's lost its prestige. Now she's died. Nobody's talking about Charles. It's over now. And the world we live in now, a lot of problems with the world is because we're losing our traditions. We're losing our older ways of thinking. And I'm not saying that the elites know I think about the elites know I think. And I know you can lump the royal family in there with them, I get it. But having a monarch for 70 or 80 years who was there during the war, she's been there the whole time, and she was in charge of not just England, the entire Commonwealth, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, African countries, all this shit, India. She's a G. You can't say she's not a G. Queen Elizabeth II, she's a G. You can't say she's a G.
He's an OG. Sneeko, this is your time to fight.
Definitely old.
She's an OG, and now she's gone, and they're replacing her with this new guy. And I think a lot of the problems with the world there are all because of all the new things and the new things they're trying to replace things with. All the old traditional ways we sit here and talk about masculinity. That's an old idea, and they're replacing it with a new idea. And what's the new idea? Trash. So when they get rid of the longest reigning monarch and they say they're going to replace it with fucking some new dude, to me that's bad news. That's my personal view. Right.
She probably had some kids though.
Well, I don't know.
J1 baby.
You think so?
If it happened, I have no idea. Diana. Did she do it? Ooh.
Well, she'll be asking. You can ask. I mean, do you think she did it? She is a G. She is a G. Sometimes the G don't get the talons out. I don't know. I don't know if she did it. All I know is that
I don't even know this conspiracy theory. Like Queen Elizabeth killed Princess Diana.
My speech. I know that England at one point was the largest, most fearsome empire on the planet. I actually think that it was the best empire in the world, not just because it was the largest, but because it was genuinely the best to live under. In modern world, when she died, all the liberals were celebrating, saying she's a colonist.
It's like the internet consensus stuff. Shit, I have no idea.
You had a semi-good life. They turned up and they built roads and schools and monuments and built a railroad. And everyone's complaining about the British Empire. If you look at the Japanese Empire, it was worse. Because they fucking off. They fucking peasant. They didn't build shit. Hey, fuck you. Give me that. Oh, pull out the katana. So at least the British built shit. So the British did good for the entire world as a whole. The world back then was different. I'm not saying colonization is a good thing. I'm saying that back then it was just empires. You were part of an empire, one of them. That's how it worked. And she was head of the Commonwealth for a very long time. And I was genuinely upset when the Queen died. Maybe it's a patriot. I thought the Queen was a G.
Don't you think the natives deserve to celebrate her death?
Why would they?
The Native Americans, anybody who's suffered from colonization.
Well, this is a really interesting question because you talk about suffering from colonization.
Or did they get her?
Do you think India? Let me ask you a question. Then. Do you think India suffered? Do you think India's in a worse place now than it would have been if it was never colonized by the British? I'm not saying the British didn't kill people. I'm not saying they're completely fair, but also the world was a different place back then. No war was fair. If the British didn't turn up India in the 1800s, then the Indians would be killing People just kill each other. That's how it worked, right? Do you think India would be in a better place today if it was never colonized by the British?
I mean, they're pooping in the streets right now.
What would they do? They didn't. The British didn't turn up. I mean, if you look at some of the biggest, best buildings in most of these countries, some of the most critical infrastructure, it's the shit the British built 200 years ago. To this day, and they had the liberation for a very long time. And they haven't managed to surpass the infrastructure the British built. You want to talk about why that is? I mean, I'm sure there's reasons, but my point is, the British turned up to a country. They ruled India with less than fucking 60,000 men. The Indians could kick their ass any time, but they turned up and they gave genuine value to the point people, okay, these white people turned up on this boat. They know shit. Oh, well, railroad. Well, okay, whoa, schools. Like, they didn't do it purely by force. India's a big place. They did it with a very small contingent, and they did it by adding value. And yeah, the British are not people you want to fuck with, but they definitely added value to the colonies. And I know this is going to upset the whole fucking world. All the people saying I'm a colonist. This is a pretty diverse panel. I don't know.
Jesus, argument, that's $100. Seems like we're working pretty hard on the content for recently. What's your timeline? So that's like in the back seat. I'll be able to talk about stuff tomorrow.
We're coming on the brown scale. But it's a pretty diverse panel. But the world was a dangerous place back then. I think being in the British Empire afforded these countries a lot of security and safety and technological advancements, and I don't think it was all completely bad.
Yeah, I mean, I was from Barbados, so like we were colonized as well, but no, we are convinced as well. But Andrew, as a young man navigating the Matrix, where do you think somebody should live nowadays in terms of like place to live? What's the best location you think possible for I live these times?
That's a good question. It's a hard one for me to answer. I think that should be the first question to the panel. So let's go through one by one. Let's change the questions slightly. When you're deciding where you want to live on the planet, what are you looking for?
Depends how much money you have. If you're American, Miami's move. Puerto Rico. But if you have more money, if you have top G money, then Croatia, I think sounds good. Albania, Romania, obviously. But why? People can't answer that question. But why? Everything you say about Eastern Europe, about the traditional values, about the lack of feminist indoctrination, about the
no offense. I don't mean any offense by this, of course. But I don't think super wealthy people want to go live in Eastern Europe. No, like again, no offense, but like.
There's nice, things are cheap, people are nice.
Girls are skinny.
Girls are skinny. We saw one, but there hasn't been one fat under 40 woman this whole time.
That's been the challenge of the whole week.
Trying to find one?
I challenged Myron and Sneeko at the beginning of the week to find a girl under 40 that was fat.
Yeah, it's not a societal norm here. It's not accepted in the same way. So societal norms have a large part to play on how we act as a whole, which you can extrapolate everything, right? Societal norms.
Did you ever know anybody in the Balkans? When I could be wrong, but when Americans, and it feels like when British people, or at least like people in this world, when they talk about Eastern Europe, it feels like they're talking about maybe the Baltics and then like Romania and Poland, and that's it. That is Eastern Europe. I don't think the Balkans count. I don't think they mean that when it's Eastern Europe. That's literally what it feels like. It feels like they're talking about Poland and Romania, and maybe they were Ukraine for the war. Poland and Romania, and then like maybe the Baltics, but nobody thinks about Germany. I don't think Germany counts as Eastern Europe, does it? Greece? Wait, I don't think Greece counts as like. Wait, hold on. I think people are trolling me now. Hold on, somebody just said, do you remember Romania? And I'm like, wait, did I just fuck up? No, yeah, wait, what? I don't know Chinese right now. Baltics or Balkans? Baltics, right? Baltics are Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, right? Or the Baltics. The Balkans are the whole southern Yugoslavia exploded Serbian shit that's all fucked. Maybe not anymore, I shouldn't say that right now, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure the Baltics are a decently nice place to be, right? I think those countries are doing pretty well. Nobody talks about them because they're small. But I think those countries have generally made like quite a bit of progress. They've been pretty peaceful, I think, since '91, right? I think the Baltics have been decently peaceful and everything, and they've like, made a lot of progress like, educationally, economically. Even Poland has to some extent. They were making a lot of progress. I don't know about Romania at all. Ukraine obviously is in a fucking war. The Baltics aren't much better than the Balkans. Is that true? I don't know that history as much, but my understanding is the Baltics have done pretty well since the collapse of the Soviet Union. They've done like exceedingly well. Then the Balkans have had, I mean, at least one NATO intervention and a lot of problems. But okay, sorry.
And it's been up, for example. Whereas in the West, they don't have those societal norms and people act in a certain way. Maybe I'm getting old and boring, but I like to live. When I was last in Miami, which is the best city in America, hands down. Best city in America. Miami! It can't, like, anyone talks about New York, they're like, Miami's the best. But
okay, when people say Miami is the best city in America, is that like a huge, I don't want to say self-report something bad, but is the person basically saying I really like going to clubs? Is that really all they're saying? Because I don't know why the fuck else you would think Miami is the best city in America. Other than you like clubs and the beach. And maybe bimbo pussy, I guess.
To me, it feels godless. It is. That's why it just feels godless. Like, when I'm in Miami, I'm just like, not New York, Miami. I'm like, this is fun. It just feels, where's God? God, this hoe, that hoe. I'm just like, where's God? He forgot about Miami. I don't know. It just feels godless. Like, and maybe I'm getting old and boring, but I like to just see the traditional business run by the family and the hotel run by the family and the women going to church on Sunday.
Then why the fuck would you say Miami is the best city in America? What are you talking about then?
And that's why I like it. Maybe
So I'll say this. It depends on what you want. Personally speaking, if you want girls, you got a little bit of paper, go to Colombia. Not much to do there, but girls, the scenery, food cheap, and then if you want to have fun,
Does that sound a little bit weird? Is sex tourism always a bad thing? I don't know. I feel a little bit weird when people talk about going to like poor countries to pick up women. That feels a little strange to me, but I don't know.
you have money, I mean for sure.
All right, so that's fair on the question. So, yeah, fresh. Let's say money's no object. Let's say we all have $100 million. Whatever. You living around the planet. We're living around.
Money's not object. I'm not alive, bro. Probably Colombia. I'm in
Colombia? Why?
First off, it goes beautiful. Yeah, at least somewhat feminine. The money goes very far. So, for example, like, you could be a G with only like,
What do you think
here. And honestly speaking, like, it's skill because, for example, people that go there, have businesses, you know, other Americans. So it's kind of like, you have your own guys are successful and hot girls, and you can't lose. So,
Mine wants to go to Dubai, right?
I'll go last. I'm pretty over here.
what about you, though?
Well, you know, we were just talking about the world, but to me, man, it matters who's there. So you can go anywhere in the world you want to be the best place on earth. Your boys aren't there, but shit. It's number one. Sure. Colombia, I've been, I like it. I think you need a plug there. Like you need a plug anywhere else.
Or again,
you need a plug. No, you need a plug that's local because Colombia can be very dangerous also. You know, so I would have to say Europe in some regard, probably Eastern Europe somewhere, based off of my experience. I like Dubai, but it kind of feels like an island. I would not go.
Wait, is this guy American? Or did somebody from Europe just say that my place that I want to live in would be Europe or Eastern Europe?
To where's there with Dominican?
Yeah,
Yeah, but you get island people, man. So I would say Eastern Europe somewhere if you're not going to live in the States and you're not going to that'd be my bet. But without your boys, it's shit anyway. I'd rather live in Indiana with my boys than live in the best country on earth with nobody. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think that people pretty much know my answer. But yeah, Justin's right. It's a lot about people you're with. It's about what stage you are in your life. But certainly the people you're with are going to influence your reality. I've been to a lot of places. I've been all around the world. The number one thing people say to me is, "Take you so much money. Why don't you travel?" The first thing is I do travel. All these fucking travel's annoying. But the second thing is that the world's the same, man. You either go out to a restaurant or you stay in. You fuck a bitch, you watch TV or some computer. The world's the same pretty much everywhere. So you got things like weather, you got things like the general safety of a place. But then you got to go to the intangibles. I like driving past churches. I like driving past churches. I'm stupid. But there's nothing that America has that Romania doesn't have. I can buy Lambo here. There's a Lamborghini garage. There's fucking clubs, there's balls, there's don't pee, there's bitches, there's restaurants. Like what does Miami have that Bucharest does not have? Not much. Nothing. It's all the same. It's all here. This is a poor country. Right? It's all here.
It's just the best life.
It's a straight.
So false, bro. Like the clubs are lit here, girls are bad here, and the cars, bro. This Lamborghini looks like driving up and down Porsches, everything's like, bro.
There's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's very first.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm in a poor country being here at all. I'll tell you that. Like coming from Miami where it's like super bougie. Like yeah.
You guys spend the whole time at the mall, going to all the first world places.
Well, hold on. Where are they at in Romania though, too? Right? Like that's going to depend on. XQC no China event. Wait, really? There are other Bucharest, other capital, because they're in like the wealthiest parts of that country. Well, there's probably a lot of poor parts of Romania they never see, right?
Oh, actual Bucharest. You go 8 times in 4 days. Taste at the mall, very adolescent. Take it to a nice restaurant, take it to scenery, seeing a church. Go to the mall.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna live in the United States, I think if you live in Florida, Texas, those are fantastic places to start. Because anywhere where it's not expensive to live and you're not getting taxed to death, you'll be okay. If you're gonna pick major cities in these states, I would say, you know, Miami's fantastic. Fort Lauderdale is good. Tampa's good. I don't like Orlando. If you're gonna be in Texas, Dallas, and Houston are good. Just a little bit dangerous. South Texas is surprisingly nice too, like McAllen. People talk about the Southwest border, but there's some nice areas there. Phoenix is also good, and Arizona. The only thing that sucks is there's a state income tax. But if you're gonna go abroad, I mean, Romania is nice. I can see why states live here. You get a lot of like, it feels like a first world country, even though like it might not necessarily be one like GDP wise. And then,
hey, just a heads up, guys. Any country probably in the world at this point, but especially any country in Europe. If you're in like the capital cities, I don't know what you guys are expecting in 2022. They're all gonna be first world. Everybody has like cars and toilets and internet. Like it's not gonna be like you're in some place where there's like villagers are carrying buckets of water to like the local inn for settlers to come and rest in before they move further east or something. Like everything, like most of the world is gonna be relatively modernized.
and what else? But for me, I'm gonna probably go to your country when it's all said and done to find my virgin
Jesus.
wife. Find the virgin wife, man. So yeah.
Right, so on. Next question. Next question. So you just said when this is all said and done. So that's the leading one question. That's perfect. That's all good. So why, I want to ask all of you, you have to tell the truth, because the audience is going to tell you're lying. If they're lying guys, you have to say they're lying in the chat. Why do you stream? Why do you talk to the world? Why? I want to wake people up. Wake people up from what? And then why do you want to wake them up? Why are you compelled? Why are you motivated to do this? My whole life philosophy has been based around being brainwashed. Since I was 6 years old, sitting in the church, not feeling like there was any productive use of time, listening to a priest, blab on about life, but he doesn't have any life experience. Some guy named Peter, you know, he's talking about TV. He's everything built with a woman before. How can you tell me anything about life and you haven't had any life experience? Going to school, doing the Pledge of Allegiance, sitting these things, taking Adderall every single day, prescribing this, I have a disability. I felt like everything in my life was to keep me down since I was born, and they told me that there was something wrong with me, and that's motivated me to do everything that I do. So the reason I started streaming is direct communication with my audience. I did videos for 9 years, but I was slower, and now I can talk to 10,000 people every single day. I want to go spread the knowledge that I've learned and try to bring people out and teach them the same things that I've learned from being trapped inside the box and being suppressed my whole life. And why? And that's the question I understand. Why do you think that? Do you think it's some validation to yourself to do it? Do you think it's selfish motivation, or do you think you're like there's some selfish, like there's some validation seeking. There's some need to be liked and admired, but the motivation is definitely based in what I said. Because I wouldn't be banned on Twitter and TikTok. I wouldn't be risking this right now. We get banned just sitting in this room with you. We're all here because we believe in some sort of message, we have some sort of philosophy.
What you sounded like allegiance every day in school. I'm okay with it. I think that the left was too quick to advocate nationalism, or at least like patriotism. You should love your country. I think a healthy love of country is good. You should like our country. And the idea that like your country is cringe is probably not a healthy idea to have for people that are trying to like make the country work. Yeah, I don't know. I think that we associate like love of country way too much with far right movements, and it's probably good that everybody in any given country loves their country. I was gonna really respond.
We cash out, we could jump in pool of 100,000 Orbeez, do some prank videos, flying to Walmart. We're here. You're right. Good point. Good point. Are you fresh? Why are you streaming?
Honestly, bro, honest answer here. I want to inspire. I never forget like when I came to America, I saw kind of
Oh shit. Oh no.
Justin,
I like what we do, Andrew. I like the cause.
blah blah blah. I don't want to see. Let's see you all have streams to try and find other people out. Yeah, it's like in high school. I feel fucking mad. Pretty much.
You ever notice it? Like, look at his face. He always is like so in the fucking zone and shot.
Versus suppressing us all. You want to rebel, and I think part of it is certainly I feel good knowing I'm doing my little bit to piss them off. In fact, I'm gonna do a little bit. I've done a lot. I've done too much. But yeah, that's answering the question. Let me ask you a question. I don't know if you want me to say something beforehand. I wasn't supposed to be on this, and I'm wondering how much of that was testing, initiating, and how much of that was the rebel inside you thinking, fucking mad. Pretty much. Yeah. Let me give you a very quick example. During the height of the subject I'm supposed to talk about. We weren't supposed to leave our houses, right? So we weren't supposed to go driving. We weren't allowed to go out the house and drive. You can hear me. You couldn't drive without a piece of paper. And every morning I woke up and start burning around the city in Porsche. And first thing she goes to me, and I used to come back with all these fucking papers and try to get in the car, call some cases, and I take the car. Go again next day. She goes, why are you doing this? It's just headaches. I can't just do what I'm supposed to do. Like, told me what to do. I can't just do it. I have to not do it. Because then when all this insanity goes down, and some fucking poor matrix slave misses the funeral of his own fucking parents, he's a dumbass and believes it all. I can know that I tried my best. He was an idiot. He was a moron. I tried my best to resist the insanity. It's like living with a pure heart. It's a real thing. Like, all this shit went down, and I can say here now with a pure heart on the screen, I resisted more than 99.9% of the time. I got arrested in Germany. I got fines every day. I broke every single rule, every single law. I had a birthday party in hype COVID that all over fucking YouTube, and fucking 100 people at a hotel, or had the mayor off. Like, I did anything it took to break the rules, and that made me feel good about myself. So yeah, was it really to wake people up and help them to stop them being slaves, or was it because I had a selfish motivation? I felt good inside myself when I'm not dumbass. I think we're all semi-selfish motivated. If you're honest.
So for me, I mean, painfully honest about this, I guess. Before, when I started streaming, as you guys know, I used to work in law enforcement for DHS. I did criminal investigations, and for me, I got a great sense of satisfaction from doing those cases and doing that job.
Damn, how shitty would it be if you were Cinco and there's a literal fucking Fed in the room, or ex-Fed, and they're cool with him going for Cinco? What the fuck?
Then I started my fitness business, and then from there started YouTube. And I wanted more influence. Let's be honest here. You want to banks and hoes, it is what it is, right? And from there, I was like, okay, this is great. And then at some point, they pulled me in, hey, listen, YouTube, you're talking about some crazy stuff. Maybe you're talking about dating and all this stuff. Oh my God, men and women are not equal and all those other stuff. Things that we know they're factually correct. They took offense to it. Right? I'm talking about biological differences and intersexual dynamics, and they didn't like that. So they kind of put me in positions that, hey, listen, you can resign, or you can, and keep doing your thing, or you can stay here, but you can't do the YouTube thing anymore. So I made a decision. I took it by myself, and I left the G. And I was like, yeah, I could do this, and make more money, whatever, and get more girls. But it evolved way more than that. You guys know I'm hardcore minimalist. I don't own many things in general. I still drive around my 2002 Honda. So it started for money and girls. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. But then as I've been doing this more and more, and impacting guys' lives and helping them like realize like, yo, I finally have like a big brother. You're like a father figure to me. Like you help me, get into law enforcement. You're the one that told me to like not do drugs. I thought about doing drugs. I'm not doing them anymore. I'm staying natural instead of doing steroids. I was gonna hurt myself, but off this girl, I'm not gonna do it anymore. You can't really put a price on that. So it started right just like you go to the gym. You first go to the gym to like get girls and get jacked and like fuck a bunch of bitches. Then you continue to go and you feel good and you get this certain sense of accomplishment and it gets way more than just a girl. So for me, I started streaming to make more money, get influence. Then as I started streaming, right, I left my government job. I thought I was the end of the world. I realized, holy shit, like we have a duty to these guys to help them out, especially in a crazy ass world where the matrix is taking over essentially. And a lot of guys are told to pretty much act like women is acceptable. When the reality is you can't act like women is unacceptable. And if anything, it's gonna set you up for better.
Well said. Nice answer. Any questions from the chat for us?
Yeah, I mean, oh man, a lot of stuff came in, guys. So I'm doing many things at once. And guys, here's the thing. I'm gonna kill the Facebook stream right now on Twitch. So come on over to YouTube, and we're gonna kill the YouTube stream coming in very soon as well. You guys are all gonna have to go to Rumble. So I'm gonna give you guys a few more minutes to go ahead. But go on over to Rumble, guys. It's rumble.com/tatespeech. This is gonna be exclusive on Rumble here in a few minutes. But yeah, I can go ahead and pull up one of these questions. Do you want the next one, Andrew, before I pull the next one?
Let's get the questions. The next one's gonna be
Oh, long one. Okay, so we got
who's happened the most?
who's got the most? We got almost 20K live on YouTube, and I think we got another 27K on Rumble. So guys, get ready to switch on over to Rumble here in a little bit. Yeah, we had a lot of good questions come through, but I want to interrupt the panel. Give me a second here so I can pull a good one.
Sure. So, guys on the panel, what is your...
Wait, what? Hold on. Mario done was pull Omek on set.
I said move to the left. I said move to the left. Now. All right. Move to the left. Everybody get to the fucking left. All right. Bullets come down this way. I ain't getting nobody fucking hurt.
Do one of these guys like flash a gun or something, or? A girl did. Oh, why? Read title. DJ Gamex goes on a girl, she pulls the blicky. Oh, sorry, I didn't know what blicky was. My bad.
We don't do that. It's the last. Really, we do not do that. I don't know which one was the one that was part of the dumbass head. Fuck that. Yeah, she got that go for real, but she got that go for
Who pulled the blicky? When?
I said this is getting crazy.
Maybe it happened on the couch. He pulled it off screen. Okay. Whatever. Okay.
Description of a moneymaker for 2022. Something you could consider like, you know what? If you're young enough in life, you can make money right now.
That's a good question. I can answer. Should I go first?
Yeah, but
Right. I think that we live in an attention economy. I think that people who can garner attention are going to be good at making money one way or another. I think we now live in a world where you have spectators and you have people who produce. It's the world is split in a binary divide between the two. And not everybody is designed to be a producer. Some people are designed to be a spectator. If I was, obviously I am a producer naturally by heart because I've lived a very diverse life. I have a lot to say, and I consider, doesn't matter what I consider, people consider my work valuable, obviously, so here I am. But if I was a spectator, let's say, and I didn't feel like I had the confidence or the knowledge or the charisma to sit on a camera and interest people, then I would try my very best to prove myself useful to a creator. And by joining their ecosystem and working alongside them, that's probably the best and easiest way to make money. There's a whole bunch of people out there that have the star factor, but they don't have the systems and the teams around them to truly be successful. So I would come along and say, listen, you can be the showman, I'll be the blood and guts underneath, and we can do very, very well. I truly still believe as fucked as the world is with the matrix and the suppression and the inflation and the Fed and all the shit we talk about. If you're a person who can turn up on time with a firm handshake, who's genuinely competent, doesn't lie to anybody, you're gonna be fine.
That's a destiny take. Yo, I'll vibe off that 1,000,000%. The one thing that you can always do in life, you can be the most worthless, retarded, crippled, fucked dude, like ADHD, whatever the fuck, every problem. If you can be a guy that always shows up 5 minutes early, and you are dependable, you're reliable, you're like, get shit done, like in a timely manner, and you're communicative, you are so far ahead of so many people. I've said this so many times. You can ask Kate, you can ask Jair, you can ask Moog, you can ask Dan. There have been a lot of premium talent people that I've worked with, and there have been like million talent people, and if you can respond to an email within 24 to 48 hours, if you can deliver on a deadline, if you can communicate really well, you are so much better to work with than like the struggling schizophrenic artist who's like an amazing artist that they're not reliable, they don't communicate, they'll go months without returning an email that you know you can't keep track of it all. Like being a person that's just like 5 minutes early everywhere and is ruthlessly dependable is so fucking good. It's such a good skill to have. Holy shit.
Never gonna starve. You're always gonna be able to make good money if you're a genuinely honest, hardworking.
Yep.
I've never met an honest, hardworking person who'll be there at 9 a.m. like you ask them to be, who completely good. So I think a lot of people who are still out here failing, they have a bunch of excuses, and yeah, we talk about how hard it is, and it's true. But if you're genuinely about it, and you can find somebody with that star factor and align yourself to them, I think you can make money no matter who you are. That's the best way. So basically, be a YouTuber. It's not being a YouTuber. It's not being a YouTuber. It can be anything. It can be you can find a star salesman, find a way to help his ass. I'm saying you don't always have to be the star. The biggest mistake a lot of people make is, and especially in the Western world, because I talk about this all the time. I was speaking about this to somebody else. I was saying America's strength and its weakness is the same thing. America's strength is that everybody's taught they're so unique and special.
And then when you get those unique and special people, they rise to the top because they're really pushing at it from the start. There's a lot of misery created out of people that think they're special, unique, and ultra talented, but they're not really, right?
And that's why you guys do so. But this is why America does so fantastic unless they get it. Everyone believes that they can be a sports star and work so hard, etc. That's why you have so many talented people, so many creative, so many movie directors, etc. Everyone's told they're fantastic. But the truth is not everybody's And the people who are not fantastic end up frustrated. And that's why you have so much crime, rob bank, get rich or trying, gangsters, gangbangers. There's a whole bunch of people in America who think they're too good for a job, and they're really not too good for a fucking job.
This is Kevin Samuels' take too. I think Kevin Samuels did a good job from the little that I've seen him, from checking everybody for having unrealistic expectations. Most of his content seems to be shitting on women, but he shit on men too. He would attack men that thought that they were looking, that he thought were looking for way more than what they actually should. Who were kind of bums who, you know, you're trying to find a 22-year-old supermodel, and you're like a 27 dude working at 7-Eleven. Like, you need to be more realistic expectations. And I think Kevin Samuels was good, and he told women that were of a certain class, like, respect the guy you with too. Like, you know, a guy that's earning $40,000 a year, you're a great guy, great view, everything. Like, everybody doesn't have to be like the fucking leader, the champion, the 7 million sub YouTuber, or whatever, right? Yeah.
That's true. Whereas if you look at other cultures, it's different, right? If you go to Asia or you go to these other places, you go to school, the very talented kids will be taken to the side, you're the top 1%, you're going to the class, and you're not putting that separate class. You know you ain't shit. You're just like, okay, I'm working in the factory. Yes, sir. That's my job. You're just do your job. There's the ego in there. So the ego is a fantastic thing for America, but it's also a detriment. So it can play both ways. But
I think if you know the value you bring to the world, you understand what you bring, then you can kind of put yourself in a position to win, because we're not only leaders, some people are followers.
But this is my point. When everyone has ego, everyone wants to be king of the chessboard.
Yeah.
You don't
I feel like I used, when I was talking to Singh, didn't I actually use the exact phrase like too many chiefs and not enough Indians? Probably because society works better when you've got a lot of followers and just a few leaders. If you got a society,
right?
Yeah, if you got a society, everybody wants to be a leader. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians is the saying, right? And like society would probably fall into disarray, everything would be fucking, I guess. Like, there's a name for this. Like, it's like a well-deserved thing where everybody thinks they want to be a leader, and everyone wants blah, blah, blah.
The chess game by having endless kings. That just gives you a bunch of vulnerabilities. Everyone has to know their role and play it. I played the role of fucking pawn, knight, my whole life. I was pawn, knight, bishop, rook. You know, I play them all. You always want to be the king. It's not that I wanted to be. It's that if you're truly destined to be, you'll end up in a position where you're going to be.
This also kind of aligns with kind of my virtue take, where I think like where I'm at right now in life is that like basically different people are good at different things. I think you owe it to yourself in the world to pursue what it is you're best at. Not everybody is like cut out to be like a Hollywood entertainer, or not everybody is cut out to be like a leader of multimedia. But there's nothing wrong with that. And that doesn't have to be. It's not like you weren't one of those people. Your life sucks. Like I think there's plenty of people living lives earning 40, 50, 60,000 a year. They're living like tremendously awesome wonderful lives. Like that's super possible. The idea that you have to be like one of these like leader people is just not true. I don't think.
Seen as a king of your empire, wherever your empire is, or whatever it is. God has a plan for all of us. My plan was to do my job to the best of my ability, whatever my job was at the time. People call me arrogant, etc., etc. I spent fucking 11 years obeying my coach like he was God. Run here. Okay, 7 miles, 4 a.m. Oh, fuck. All right. I just listened. I didn't get successful by running my mouth. I didn't get successful by knowing everything. I got successful by listening.
Somebody else, I got a lot of emails that I covered too. I should have put more things. I didn't think about it. Like, I got a lot of emails like, bro, like 90% of CEOs have college degrees. And also, what do successful people do? I think I count as a successful person. Like, I told my kid, like, Nathan is going to college, you're going to do before you're hopping on YouTube shit. Most likely. You're like, I'm not going to let him just like, oh, I'm not high school, can I do this shit? Fuck you. Go to college, get a degree. And I think you look at most successful people, what are they trying to do? Like, what do successful people do? They're literally known for like trying to scam schools to get their fucking kids to get into the best schools, right? What was that whole thing where like paying off like school administrators? Like, they're trying so hard. Like, wealthy people will cheat to get their kids into the best fucking schools. Like, that's how fucking important it is for them. So the idea that like, oh no, like wealthy people know that school is a waste of time. Like, haven't you heard of these two exceptional people? Like, well, Musk got degrees, fucking Bezos got degrees, Bill Gates was super smart, but he went into college, he worked on shit. Zuckerberg got like 99% of these like super brilliant people are really well educated people. It's very, 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 very rare. This like comes from nothing and comes like a billion. That's exceptionally rare. Most of these people are really well educated. Donald Trump, I'm pretty sure. Like, let's check. Donald Trump Wikipedia. I know this motherfucker graduated from some bullshit. Trump family must have. This motherfucker skipped the draft to finish school. Okay, did he finish? Hold on. Oh, look, even Donald Trump got his 4-year degree at Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. And this guy came from money and had a dad that gave him money. Okay, even this motherfucker finished his 4-year degree. Okay.
He's my father my entire life. This is my coach my entire life. I just done exactly as I was told. He said punch, he said jab, I jabbed. That was it. So I just obeyed. So I played my part and played my role for a very long time before I got to a position now where I have, I don't know, a total of maybe 60, 70 people working for me across all these communities, the empire, blah, blah, blah. But you're saying I always knew about the king. I don't think I did. I just want to be very, very competent and do my job very, very well. And even now to this day, if Elon Musk and I would have a conversation one day, he'd say, I want to help you with X. I'm not going to walk in there saying, I'm a king, bro. Talk to you about, you know, Mr. Elon, sure. I'll be the knight. Let's go fucking Mars. Like, there's too much ego involved. And this is the problem with a lot of people. Egos hold them back. Egos can get your ass killed. Egos put you in the fucking morgue, put you in jail, and it'll also destroy a lot of opportunities. I can do another story. I have a whole bunch of friends who are still broke. Even though they've watched my come up and I've tried to help them a million times, and they'll message like, hey man, just have to leave my job again. And they're trying to hit him for money. I'm like, why? What happened? Man, my boss, he's fucking rude to me. Bro, you're a wagey, and he's a boss. What the fuck? Do your job. But you can't be messaging me saying, oh yeah, you're top G, I'm G, I don't take shit from my boss. Well, you have to do your boss. That's the game. You have to know your part and play it well. How much of it is determined by God? You're saying, I'm wondering what you think of the difference between free will and determinism. You're saying that some people are meant to just be pawns, but how much of it is dependent on your mentality and your beliefs as a young man? People decide to be pawns. Nobody is destined to be anything they don't decide themselves to be.
I hate that people are like whatever I'm talking. But people on my server were like, oh, he said it so much more eloquently than Destiny did. Like, well, yeah, he did, but that's because every 3 words I would try to speak, so he would jump my fucking throat saying essentially the same shit. I couldn't get fucking anything out. I was just screaming my throat over like Jesus.
If you're truly uncomfortable with something, you can't exist there. When I was a pawn, I did my job to the best of my ability, but let's change it. When I was a brokey, I knew I was a brokey. Trust me, I knew very well I was a brokey. My life reflected it. I did my bank accounts. But I was uncomfortable in it to a position where I couldn't sleep at night. I had sleepless nights just laying there thinking, how the fuck are people buying Ferraris? I can't pay rent. This doesn't make sense. I have to escape. I can't live this way. If you're genuinely uncomfortable, if I set you on fire, you're gonna stand up. You're gonna move. If I set you on fire, you're chilling. You can't save the fire burning. People who are broke and they've been broke for years and years and years and they're still sleeping in like playing video games are comfortable enough being broke to stay broke. I couldn't be comfortable in that position. If you put me in a shitty position, I'm so desperately uncomfortable. We can change it from money to something else. If I was morbidly obese, it wouldn't last long. Tell me now. With me, I couldn't do it. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I'm mad at myself. I'd be angry. I'm self-conscious. I'd fix it. The person who's been morbidly obese for 10 years will try and you ain't fucking trying. You're very comfortable, very happy being you are. So anybody who's a pawn is comfortable and happy being a pawn. Otherwise, they wouldn't be one anymore. They at least moved up. So when I say determined by God, what I'm saying is that God is producing all of us. I believe God exists. We're all made in his image to a degree. And certain people look at their place in life and said, this is okay. This is enough for me to sleep enough. And that's fine. You're gonna sleep. But if you're like me, if you look at your bitch going, she's a 7, my car ain't shit, apartment's small, I know I'm better than this. I have to find a way to escape. Then motivation, the whole idea of motivation becomes it gets destroyed. People say I don't have motivation. I never had motivation. I had a burning desire to fucking fix my life. I didn't need to wake up and get. I didn't have to watch YouTube to want to make some fucking money. I was like, I want money. Man, I need YouTube to tell me, bro, you're broke. Like, so I don't think that anybody is destined to be a pawn. I think people decide to be pawns. And I'll give you an example of it. I can sit here right now as a multimillionaire, a person who has hundreds of millions of dollars, and I can say, if you go to covertake.com right now, you can sign up to a free newsletter. I will email you every day for free. Lessons from a multimillionaire for free. All it's gonna take is 13 seconds of your time to go to covertake.com and sign up to the email there, and maybe 10% of people watching the video, and 90% will go, hey man, being broke sucks. The fucking dumbasses. So that's their decision. I don't believe it's a decision. People are broke decided to be. It really is not that difficult to make money. I really don't get it.
What is the biggest? What do you make money from this year? Something coming up. Man, there's a million ways to make $1 million. I think you gotta pick something, put your time in, be confident at it, stay in the fight long enough to make fucking money. There's no one way to make $1 million. In regards to what Andrew's saying, especially about the guys that are superstars or not. Look at me, dude. I'm a multi-millionaire too, but I got no problem. In fact, me and Andrew had a conversation about this maybe 6 months or a year ago. I'm like, Andrew, you can be Michael Jordan. I'll play Scottie Pippen. Facts all day. I'm trying to win fucking trophies, bro. And there's nothing better in this world than do shit with your boys. So if you got somebody in your group that is Michael Jordan, let me be fucking Michael Jordan. I'm not insecure about that. And when you have a diverse group, when you have a group of true competent people, you realize that it changes role to role anyway. There's certain scenarios where it's X guy's the fucking G, and the next guy he's the G. That's how it goes. When it comes to boozing, it's like, Tristan, bro. You win. Like, that's just the way it is. That's what happens when you're around genuine companies.
Let's separate. What's the biggest deciding factor, Andrew, that separates you from the 90% of retards, the people who don't want it? Why do you make a decision to go and get it, but most people don't? What's the biggest? Is it the way you grew up? Is it the fighting? Is it being broke? That's a good question, and actually leads to my other question. Fantastically, which is amazing. I was raised for competence, and I was raised for excellence. So to a degree, I can say that I'm lucky by the fact I had such fantastic parents, and that they told me from a very, very young age who I had to be, how I had to live. I hear a lot of things from people saying, your father's too amazing, and he can overshadow you, and it makes the kid fail. But I can't speak to that because I had a complete opposite experience. My father was my hero. I wanted to be exactly like him, and all I had to do was copy him and do as I was told. And I was doing fantastic. I learned how to listen at a very young age. I learned how to obey my elders, do as I was told, eat my vegetables. My life has never truly fucked up. There's a lot of successful people who tell you like, yeah, my life fucked up and I recovered. I went to jail, I got out, all this shit. My life's never fucked up. My life has always been wake up, do fucking work. That's all it's ever been. And if you wake up and do fucking work every single day, I'm 36 years old. How can I not have $100 million? All I've done is work. All I've done is get up and do what I'm supposed to do. All I've done is get up, eat right, train, work, answer the call, be on time. Like, how am I going to not have $100 million? It's something I don't understand how you messed that up. It's people are just lazy. So that leads to another question I'll ask all of you. How big of an impact do you think family has on men, like major league men? And what advice would you give to men who love their family and they know their family love them, but their family
holds them back?
Their family are not living the life they want to live. The advice they're giving is not the advice they want to follow. Like, do you have any stories or do you have any advice or what kind of impact do you think a negative family environment can have on a man? What should you do in a scenario when his parents truly love him and truly care for him, but they're telling him to like put on a mask and go home? Oh, so there you go. So that's a really interesting story. My dad has recently been telling me since I've been getting into the red pill and getting to these ideas and fully devoting myself to this message that now he agrees with a lot of what I say. And he's blue pill. We can't talk about a lot of things, but he did what 85% of the population did. He went to college, told me to go to college, told all my siblings to go to college, but ultimately he did give up on his dream. His dream was to be a filmmaker, was to be creative, and he decided to fully devote himself to his family. And for me, that gave me the opportunity to fully focus on what I wanted to do because he came up in a good household. He was there, he was a good inspiration, he was a good role model just like your dad. But I had to separate from a lot. I disappointed in my way. Dropping out of school, dropping out of college, didn't talk to me for a long time. Not taking what everybody else was taking, they were really upset with me. I'm sure a lot of people in the chat relate. They ended up taking something that everybody else is saying that you're a bad person, you're gonna kill my grandma if you don't take this too. So I think you just have to decide for yourself what's the best for yourself and make a sacrifice that you
have to everything these days. Like, okay.
What about you, Walter?
So I have two examples in my life. Robert, if I talk about poor dad. So my real dad, which is basically deadbeat dad, but you know, that's my dad, and I have my granddad. And growing up, I was supposed to follow the family blueprint, which is go to school, get a degree, to go family business. But I saw my dad and I was like, damn, like he's pretty much just like living life, doing whatever he wants, but he's not responsible. But my granddad was an anchor. He was like the one taking care of the family, taking on trips, he bought me a car, bought my house. Like, damn, he's the man of the household. So I make a choice. Who do I want to follow? My dad or my granddad? And I told my granddad because for me personally, my dad would say, hey son, I'll come pick you up. He never would show up. My granddad would say, hey son, I'll come pick you up. He'll show up on time. So me personally, if I get a choice, to say, you know what? Who do I want to get more? My granddad or my dad? I told my granddad. So we just made a choice. I think I always have that voice in my head that tells us what we're supposed to be doing. If you know you're supposed to be great, that voice in you is going to tell you that. You can choose to listen to it, or you can choose to let the weaker voice inside you suppress what you know you were meant to be. So as long as you listen to the voice that tells you that you're supposed to be great, you're supposed to be doing things that are bigger and better than what your family's doing, I think you're okay. Now you have to be strong enough to fight the suppression that's going to come toward you from your family. But once you decide to do that, everybody will say that it's dangerous until you've made it. Case in point, ego. You know, your dad said no, and then you built the following, and then he's like, okay, I see it. Same thing with my dad. My dad was always, son, don't you think that's enough? Don't you think that's enough? No. Now he's like, son, I've never seen anybody work as hard as you, and he truly respects me. So a lot of times people don't believe in you until you finally arrive. So I think that's something very important to remember. In addition to that, I always say that suppression is wrapped in love. So a lot of times people are uncomfortable with the things that you're doing. Just remember that you are directly intimidating them by the actions that you took in spite of their inactions. So just remember that. That's a good point. And I get this all the time. People message me saying, hey, my family's not supportive of what I want to do, and my family don't believe I should try and do this, or my family thinks I should go down this route. And my answer has been pretty generic so far, but it seems to be effective. I think the number one thing that especially parents are worried about when they see their children is they don't like that you seem to be lazy. So people message me, I don't want to go to college, my parents want me to go to college. I say, well, have you sat down with your parents and explained to them what you're going to do all those years instead? Have you sat there and said, look, I'm not going to go to college?
True! This obsession with not going to college, everybody that says this. If you have to ask, should I go to college? The answer is always yes. And what he's saying is very true. When parents are like, you know, if you're working a whole bunch of fucking shit and your parents are like, why don't you go to college? And you're like, I don't kind of go to college. I'm doing this, and this. It's like, okay, that's fair. I think not enough every parent will do that. But if you're more okay with that, then you're just like, oh, I don't think college is for me. Because that just sounds lazy. Right? It's like you don't have a plan, you're not going to do anything. Instead, you're wasting years.
How are they doing this? 2 hours a day doing this? 1 hour a day. Next year I'll be doing this apprenticeship. I'll do this certification. I'm going to go here and do this. I'm going to do this passport. Or you just said, I don't want to go to college and turn the TV back on.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think they go to college, right? It doesn't matter what you do. I think if you're a child and you explain to your parents or all the people who love you or people around you are trying to push you in a certain direction, say, look, I have a plan. This is what it is. I have a finite amount of time to plan. I'm going to dedicate it towards X. I'm going to make sure this is successful. I'm going to do it right. And you show competence. You show that you genuinely give a shit. You're up before them and go to sleep after them. They're not going to take anything you do. I think a lot of people are saying, oh, my parents are trying to suppress me. No, what your parents are trying to do is make you lazy.
Sorry.
I completely understand that. True. Teenage son sitting around smoking weed. You want to send his ass to college. What else is he going to let him do? Sit there and smoke weed? If you were genuinely up grinding, even if you were making money, if you were in the gym every day and you were a bodybuilder and you look like a tank, they'd still be a bit like, all right, he's doing something. I mean, like, at least he ain't just sitting around, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. Your family, you nail it with suppression love. And your family are trying to hold you back. What they're trying to do is make you do something so they can do nothing. If you're doing enough, they wouldn't really be focused on what you do at all. It's about output more than what you're putting your output into. It's about doing something, existing.
And that's your point, Andrew. So for example, even myself, like my mom would say, don't go to America, it's dangerous, don't go over there, you might end up dead. And I was like, you know what, mom, my granddad did the same thing. He left Barbados, came to America.
Hey, people keep making fun of Steve for not saying anything, right? Keep in mind too that like Steve goes to a table with people that are all like really far ahead of him in terms of like stages of life, right? So of course like these guys are gonna have more to say on these particular topics. Like I wouldn't really expect Steve to be able to contribute much to the table where everybody else is like kind of already made it or is like well into their journey. Well, he's still kind of figuring shit out, right? Like everybody here is at least 5 years, if not 10 years older than him, right? I don't know how old like Walter is or I don't know anything, but like it would be super cringe for him to try to argue over all these people, I think. Why does he talk to you then? Oh, probably just respect me. I'm totally right. He like idolizes these guys, right? He has no respect for me.
I was, you know what? I'm in school. I'm sorry to say, I love you, but I don't follow the family path. I don't do what my granddad did. Just so you know what? I'm gonna sell my bike, sell my truck, move to America. Just don't go, son. It's dangerous. I can't have you going there. So look, I love you, mom. Here's my plan. I'm going to America. I'm gonna retire you. Be successful. That's it. And I did. So me having not talked to her, it feels a little bit uncomfortable, but like still, she's like, you know what? Don't go dangerous and you gotta be a choice, man. So.
All right, so before I give my answer, I'm gonna go ahead and kill the YouTube stream. So guys, I need you guys to go over to Rumble right now. Rumble.com/TateSpeech. Okay, guys, so you can go ahead and get the rest of the stream. And support Andrew, man. Like, yo, the Matrix is trying to attack him. We gotta support the man. Support the top G. So I'm gonna kill the YouTube stream right now, guys. So I'm gonna give you guys a second. Rumble.com/TateSpeech. Again, it's Rumble.com/TateSpeech, and we're gonna go ahead and continue. Yeah, you know what? Let me go ahead and well, hold on. Let me refresh this thing real fast before I do it. And this is my fire stream. We got almost 20,000 in here. So this is right here, guys. I'm gonna share the screen with y'all real fast. And I know I'm doing the producing thing over here.
All the best shows.
Yeah, so come on over, guys, to what the hell? Okay, hold on. I got it right now. It's giving me a little bit of a hard time here, so it's bam, this one right here. There we go. All right, so let me share for y'all real
How
quick.
do you when you agree with Tate? No, what about me? It's just incorrect. Of course I'm gonna agree with that. What do you mean?
Can y'all see that? Yeah, you guys should be able to see that right now. This is us right now on Rumble, guys. Come on over. It's rumble.com/TateSpeech. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and kill the YouTube stream right now. We love y'all on YouTube. Come on over. Okay, there's 17,000 plus you guys in here on YouTube alone. Go on over to rumble.com/TateSpeech for support the top G, and I'll tell you guys.
See you later. So Ukraine has been focusing on expanding the kill zone, and this lightning drone is one of the ways they're doing it. The Bliskavka, or Lightning, is a modification of the Russian Molniya platform, and to put it simply, it delivers a larger payload at a further distance and a lower price. In a way, Andrew Tate might be marketing red pill stuff that I think is kind of okay, but people like
opportunity to fully focus on what I wanted to do because we came up in a good household. He
Okay, that's fair. I think, I don't know, every parent.
We got to show support, man. Support the top G. So I'm gonna kill you.
Someone wants to come back in, so yeah, I feel like we got Chris Short, he wants to come back in.
Sneako's trying to get into the call. Sneako's trying to ambush you. Sneako's trying to join. And I was like, what happened between you and him? Haven't breached. We're threatened. Ethan Klein did reach out, which is good. I have a DM from Abba himself. America Simp. Oh my god. Why is it wrong, Sneako?
because it's not our relationship. Because God says it's wrong.
That's really, that's the reason. Hold on, wait, so Sneako, no, wait, this is how easy. So God tells you to be kids, like he did with Muhammad or whatever. You think that's okay then? That you would change your mind on that tomorrow?
That's not what happened.
No, I'm asking you. If God tells you, Sneako, I think it's okay, then you would change your mind on it tomorrow.
There has to be a justification for everything.
Whoa, hold on. Can I
When you made that joke and then he started calling you the F-slur and he started clutching over the Muslim joke, I'm like, are you serious? You guys, what you guys are like terrified of?
you know how on the left, you know how like the trans stuff is like you can't say.
Destiny, you abandoned your child to go play StarCraft in Miami. You left your kid back in Nebraska. Steve left his kid, and you talk about how red pillars are misogynist and have bad relationships. Where's your kid right now? Like, no, real talk. I'm tired of you saying like, oh,
Because they know that they're going to go after these platforms. Hold on, Kick is all private equity. There's no advertisers. It's all crypto gambling. Where's the HDL influence? No, people probably don't want you on Rumble because people don't want Rumble because it's just a platform where all the Nazis go. Elon doesn't want you on Twitter, although he gave you an unban because as soon as you got unbanned, within 24 hours, you're already tweeting crazy and then you're back in space.
his wife has been messaging me.
She talked to me. I told you it was real. I was like, it's real.
So he said, would you be mad if I tweeted this? And then he shows me the tweet or whatever. Your wife and my damn little bro. And I'm like, oh, I'll go for it, smiley face. And he says, it's about to be a shit show. Muslims will be happy with me. And I'm like, inshallah.
I don't need you arm wrestle right now.
Do you feel like you have to like assert your
When you want to study, we can do it. I'm not trying to assert my I'm trying to prove to you. So you want to kill me?
Just this one video.
Women like to live in a little bit of delusion and there's a certain amount of truth. Tell them, you can hear in your voice right now getting very emotional about this. Being a billionaire is not just about actual assets. Being a billionaire is how valuable you are to the world.
The Trump method.
In the sense that people will stand by you, people will support you.
I am a billionaire as well, guys.
Get arrested. The level of money laundering or tax evasion, something like fraud, that's always going to come out at a certain level.
God, he's such a bot. Oh my god, he runs the foot so hard for him. I feel like my bridge might burn tonight.
Well, she got him arrested.
I think she got him arrested.
She definitely got them to check in.
No, the Romanian police have been working on this case for months. Oh, by the way, I was right about that one lady. She did make it up. She completely made up the pizza box story. This is just totally fake. Totally fake, 100% fake tweet. Offensive for Wayland Andrews' conviction. Dude, people on Twitter.
Women
as well, and I version themselves. One could argue that the current thing is not about. I'm in terms of not getting. Why wouldn't you live in Romania?
Okay, so you want to question
the reason people always question why do you live in Romania is because there was a clip from a podcast where they were saying that the laws are more lenient and the police are more relaxed. Romania is a place, and I went there to spend less time with Andrew and stuff, but when I was there, it's a peaceful country. Even though they consider third world, people are civilized, it's Christian run, and
who considers Romania third world? It's just Eastern Europe.
Problems with the police, or that there's this mafia run. That's the spin that they let us talk about. Is genuinely a good God-fearing place.
The clip you just mentioned, somebody DM'd me and said that there's a video of Andrew Tate saying he moved to Romania because you couldn't be arrested if you were accused of sexual assault. So you just said there's a clip of
all of Europe, third world.
Is that the one you're referring to?
That's the one I'm referring to, and that's not what he was saying. That's how a lot of people perceive that notion. But he's talking about how the police are they're less controlling because everyone there is civilized and God-fearing. The Christian, it's not as
third world usually just means country like very, very, very low development. Okay, anybody that's busting out these artistic, well, technically, first world where the Western powers and the aligned people, second world was the Soviet Union, and the Warsaw Pact, and third world we're not aligned countries. Nobody uses that. Nobody uses the terminology like that. Every moron. Nobody walks in and goes, oh wow, this is third world. Oh really? They weren't aligned with the Soviets or the United States in the 50s, 60s, 70s. No, nobody uses the term. I know what third world means. Okay, nobody technically uses that. And when they say right here, oh, they say Romania third world country. They didn't mean that in the literal sense of like the fucking Cold War. Literally nobody uses the term like that anymore. You're not smart for knowing that.
If you had rape charges in the UK, how did you fly in last week to speak to
you? Sexual assault charges. You had sexual assault and violence charges against you.
Yeah, allegations, but not charges. Allegations.
Yes, allegations. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Sorry, excuse me. Yes, I'll be very careful. Yes, there were allegations against him, and he said he moved to Romania, as you said, because he wants to. What was it? He said, "I'm not a rapist, but I want to do what I want to do." Those were his exact words. I have no.
He's not a rapist, and he doesn't do those things.
Yeah, but he said, "I'm not a rapist, but I want to do what I want to do. I want to be able to do what I want to do without being put in jail." Oh look, he's in jail now. Pity.
Damn.
And again, he understands how counter-intentionally shock tactics.
Yeah, don't lie. Don't lie. Off his face. Don't twist his words.
I've spent hundreds of days around the man.
Okay, so Syrian.
Ooh,
So you're making very good words. Let's just do it one after the other so the audience can understand what's being discussed. Did you have any other points or questions? I'll ask one more question, and then Syrian, if you want to ask questions anytime, just put your hand up, I'll give you the mic again. Ira, the question I have here in the audience, if you have questions for Ira or any other panelists, just put them in the bottom right corner. But new Ira Alpha is a close friend of Andrew Tate, so you can ask questions relating to the recent events. Prison conditions and treatment. Do you have any insight from the attorneys or anyone else about the conditions of where Andrew's being detained and the treatment he's received so far?
Yep, the legal system over there is quite reasonable. Everything's fine in that sense. We don't have any concerns. One thing I will say is, again, a lot of people are making opinions and judgments based on sound bites and stuff that's on the internet. I spent hundreds of days around the man. He's not a rapist. I spent hundreds of days around him interacting with the women in his orbit. He treats them all with respect.
Or that's Destiny viewer.
So everyone's expectation, all the best to you, but I know what I've seen hundreds of people.
Can you share some information on the other two people that were arrested with Andrew and Tristan? One of them has a relation. One of the girls was an ex-police officer and has a relationship with one of the Tate brothers. What can you share there?
I don't think that is useful, nor do I have any information on that, so I'm not going to comment.
Damn it, was worth a try. Syrian, do you have anything else on Ira Alpha? Because I know you probably disagree with a few things. The mic is yours. You got to unmute Syrian go.
Yes, he also said that he had 6 women and they don't want to work under the new conditions or something along those lines. It was a comment about his character and whether or not he lies. And the truth of the matter is, what the clip actually said was that he had 6 girlfriends that he was running at the same time, and none of them knew about each other, which goes to show that he is a liar.
Ooh.
And he got them all together and he said, "You're my girlfriend, you're my girlfriend, you're my girlfriend." These are his exact words. And then he goes, "Oh, by the way, I'd like to make money for me working as some kind of cam girl." And 3 of them said no, 3 of them said yes. But this again goes to his character. His character is that he lied to these women about each other and he had 6 girlfriends at the same time. The claim is that he isn't a liar, he's a good character. No, he's a liar and he has a bad character. Unless you think it's okay to lie and teach people.
Okay, there's a difference between lying about.
He said that some of those women that were beaten in the videos were consensual. In those videos that were released, yes, they were consensual. However, I have posted on my Twitter account that there was one woman at least that said she was beaten so violently she had very bad wounds, she didn't consent to that, by Tristan Tate. That wasn't videoed, but the pictures of the bruises are there. Look, I have more I need to say because the thing is that the victims, we're not really talking about the victims here. There are 6 people making these accusations. They're real people, and I have seen some evidence, and I'd like the opportunity to talk about that.
Yeah, of course. So Sneeko, you were jumping in, and Alpha, I'm usually just because of the background noise. So Alpha, whatever. But Sneeko,
background noise muted.
There's a difference between lying about like raping or the serious allegations that you're accusing these 2 women of. There's a difference between lying to your girlfriends because overall women cannot handle the truth about relationships. Overall, women like to live in a little bit of illusion and there's a certain amount of truth to tell them. You can hear it in your voice when I'm getting very emotional about this. There's a actually did tell the truth. Eventually, when he started the cam business, he brought them all together and said it is what it is. And then some of them, I think 2 of them left and decided not to. So there you go. He did tell the truth and he was honest about it. He's a good character. And you're accusing him of serious things like rape. And just analyze the situation like objectively. Think about like people who need to rape. Do you think that these 2 men would have any need to?
Oh God! Oh no, Sneeko, what are you doing?
There's no need for them to go and take pussy from a woman. That's all internet because we are programmed to think that people who are acting with their masculine imperative, that they're toxic and they're bad people. That has been reported so much ever since Trump said grab by the pussy. We get really triggered when we hear these statements online, but in real life, it's not true. A woman is never afraid when they're around them. I've been around them with dozens of women, and not one of them was there without wanting to be there. You can say the same thing about Harvey Weinstein, but that's all.
Wait, someone said that my take? No, that's the exact opposite of my take. Or it's like, what I usually say is like, I don't know why these people rape when they could get girls any other way. I don't know why they do. But like, you don't need to, but they still do. That's the point. I don't know why. I don't know why men do it in these positions. Now, hold on, to be clear, I'm not saying Andrew Tate is a rapist. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if he's formally charged with rape yet. But like, celebrities and like people in power definitely rape. I don't know why they do it. It's stupid, but they definitely do it.
I did ask a question earlier. I don't think you answered it. I think you started talking about making a lot of money from sports. But do you know when he stopped? If he stopped the OnlyFans agency, it could be a side business or it could be bigger than.
In real life, it's not true. A woman is with their masculine imperative, that they're toxic and need to rape. Do you think that these 2 men would have any need to?
Oh God! Oh no, Sneeko, what are you doing?
There's no need because we are programmed to think that people who are acting with their masculine imperative, that they're toxic and they're bad people. That has been reported so much ever since Trump said grab by the pussy. We get really triggered when we hear these statements online, but in real life, it's not true. A woman is never afraid when they're around them. I've been around them with dozens of women, and not one of them was there without wanting to be there. You can say the same thing about Harvey Weinstein, but that's all.
Wait, someone said that my take? No, that's the exact opposite of my take. Or it's like, what I usually say is like, I don't know why these people rape when they could get girls any other way. I don't know why they do. But like, you don't need to, but they still do. That's the point. I don't know why. I don't know why men do it in these positions. Now, hold on, to be clear, I'm saying Andrew Tate is a rapist. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if he's formally charged with rape yet. But like, celebrities and like people in power definitely rape. I don't know why they do it. It's stupid, but they definitely do it.
I did ask a question earlier. I don't think you answered it. I think you started talking about making a lot of money from sports. But do you know when he stopped? If he stopped the OnlyFans agency, it could be a side business or it could be bigger than we think.
For as long as I've known Andrew, which is 4 years, the OnlyFans thing has never been a serious focus or a serious discussion point or a serious money maker. That's how he made his money back in the day. He grew up rough, Southside Chicago, then Luton. From what I understand, there weren't many options for a mixed race kid to get ahead. He did that. It's not illegal. There are many people doing OnlyFans.
Correct. We had a few of them yesterday as well. So the business model itself is definitely not illegal. There's just ethical and unethical ways of doing it.
This is years ago. Okay, so I believe that ethically this is quite successful, and it was years ago. This is only something we've talked about the last 4 years. This is all digging up stuff in the past. Convenient now when he speaks against the narrative, he speaks against power. What a coincidence! All these old videos are something we're talking about. 5,000 people on the internet. Videos from what, 10 years ago? Look objectively. This is clearly a politically driven reputation.
I would say when someone gets popular, like when my show blew up.
How do you square that? I want to know how they square that. Romania is a place with traditional Christian values, but the Romanian police are arresting Tate because they're a part of the globalist agenda. How do you square those 2 positions away?
it's a very long time ago, but the allegations were of early 2021, and it looks like there's a lot of others involved in those 5 properties that were searched. A few people, I think Steph, who's an attorney in Romania, has been looking into this case, did mention that. Steph, can you clarify? The investigation involved this potential syndicate and had 3 jurisdictions: Romania, the UK, and the US. Is that correct, Steph?
Yeah, so they stated that there are multiple jurisdictions involved. No, they are accused in multiple jurisdictions, including Romania, UK, and USA.
Okay, and could Andrew have been involved intentionally or unintentionally?
Why do they ask these questions? They're going to say no, of course not.
And there's also unintentionally as well. So that's questions for Alpha. Unintentionally as well.
Happy to speak to that. He's very intelligent, very risk aware. He would not intentionally or unintentionally be involved in any crime syndicate. Again, let's be logical here. Does someone who's worth tens of millions of dollars need to coerce women or force sex out of them or run OnlyFans networks? Is that likely? It's not. It's unlikely. Does someone who speaks against power, speaks against the current thing, speaks against all narratives being pushed, have attack vectors which can be exploited in the press to undermine them and lock them up? That is most likely. All I ask is let's stay rational. Let's separate speculation from facts. Again, I've been around these guys for hundreds of days. Not once have I seen any red flags or any indications of any mistreatment whatsoever. And again, I'm an established professional. I know how to read people. So with respect to all these passionate feelings, I'm very anti-violence against women as well. I'm passionate about this too. The reality
I'm guys, I'm also anti-violence against women. Okay, I'm going to strong as an anti-rape person. Okay.
A single example of a single woman who feels concerned for safety, or maybe other powers that be trying to push a narrative and undermine somebody's against them. Maybe.
Two more questions.
Mario, I would like to respond to that. Okay. Look, I'm myself someone who has been the victim of injustice. Right. I've seen a lot of wrongdoing on the other side. People trying to spin a narrative, trying to use false accusations or evidence that is wrong to just paint a certain picture of you. So on that part, I'm on your side, right? But I'm also someone who has quite an understanding about the business empire that Andrew Tate and his brother have built. So let me just go right into that. Right. You're saying he's making enough money, he doesn't need this women. This is kind of an outdated business. Tate himself is claiming a couple of years ago when he was 27 that he makes $1 million a month, and then later on claiming in a recent article in the Mirror that he's making $4 million a month with his PAM and OnlyFans business. That's significant. That's not small. And when you're saying there are claims of him having 150,000 subscribers to his university, I find that totally unrealistic. I mean, I know what it takes to get a certain number of users. That's 5% of his Twitter followers are paying members to his Hustler University. I doubt that. There are no audited numbers that confirm.
Does he say he has 150,000 members?
Electronic slot casinos in Romania. Everyone knows if you are in the casino business in Rome, they run things there. He wouldn't be able to run these casinos unless there are connections and payoffs to organized crime. So to say that this is all squeaky clean and above board the way you do it, I'm on his side when it comes to potential injustice. Don't get me wrong. We've said yesterday in the space multiple times. Let's wait for the evidence to come out before we make any judgment. Let's see what the charges are and innocent until proven guilty. But there are some people coming in here.
There's no point. There's no way to line this up perfectly.
We just have to say sorry. That's not accurate. And to say that this whole TAM business is a sideshow and shouldn't really matter to him or us to talk about it because he's making so much money with other stuff. It's just bullshit. It's not true. And the other thing is, go ahead. Okay, so rational question. I can see your logical reasoning. There are a few things to point out. You said a few years ago when he was 27. He's now 36. So that's not a few years ago. That's almost a decade. He was making money in the CAM game. That's now an outdated business.
Move it down one row. We're working through tile system.
And in terms of Hustlers University, if you're in the Discord group, you can see the active membership.
No, it's a line on this side. This side works.
Look, we haven't exactly got a big four.
Rails are on 2 credits one wide.
But if you go into that group, you will see that there's over 100,000.
Wait, so I should move over here? Would be okay?
And so again, we've been playing good things. He did a CAM game like a good decade ago.
Oh wait,
why are we still talking about it now? That's the question. Now, let me respond to that, Alpha. Not too long ago, in March of this year, he was given an interview to the Mirror together with his brother, talking about the CAM business. Linked to it yesterday, and he quite proudly said it makes me $4 million a month. People are getting ripped off by these girls, and it's not our problem. We don't care. No one can do anything about that. You should read that, and then maybe come back again and tell us that this is not a crucial operation. Love to respond to that. Tate is also saying he's a trillionaire.
Oh, so now it's all fake.
Like word for word, this is accurate.
Just a troll.
Let's keep in mind again, he uses shock tactics. You're telling me that instead of going with my daily conversations with this individual, I shouldn't read a news article? Is that really what you're saying? Well, if you're saying that he's saying he's making up stories and he's lying, then what are we to believe, right?
True. True. That is true. That's true. You gotcha. I was true.
You are saying you should listen to what he's saying, but at the same time you're saying he's using these tactics to make up stories and to lie about things. How is that consistent? Like how we know which is the truth and which isn't? Come on, you don't understand comedy, you don't understand entertainment values here.
God, take such a fucking bot. Holy shit.
You know the difference between someone saying I'm a trillionaire and someone being a liar, then I'm afraid that reflects fully on your intellect. No, look,
that's not dishonest.
I'm probably
don't block him, please.
No, I'm not blocking him. I'm actually quite entertained at the moment. So let's just look at this interview that he's done very recently with Piers Morgan, right? He told him that he's a billionaire. I have never heard about the trillionaire story, but how does a billionaire charter jets, charter a yacht to do a holiday? He doesn't own these things. When I saw him post a picture of his bathroom, his house in Dubai, I was like, I thought you were rich, was my reply. This guy is saying that he has all this money, he has all these subscribers, but he's living the lifestyle of someone who is maybe in the low double-digit millions. So, there's just so much puff and story that is not true. Being a billionaire is not just about actual assets. Being a billionaire is how valuable you are to the world.
The Trump method.
I understand that people will stand by you and people will support you.
I am a billionaire as well, guys.
Get arrested. And notice how these are really, you getting annoyed about the fact that his bathroom isn't up to your standards is a waste of this conversation. I'm going to interject here. I'm from the Balkans. I know the region well. From the former Yugoslavia to Romania, right? You don't get to operate as a foreigner in that country, in almost any industry, but specifically the sex and the casino industry, without connections. To my knowledge, right? A Romanian police officer was also arrested. Like, you don't understand. There's a difference Eastern European show you, specifically in the Balkans, when you're a visitor on vacation, you're spending money, versus in their cities doing business. I know people in multiple trades don't have to do it. Your personal interactions don't mean shit. I know people who are fucking killers. They go home to their wives and their kids and kiss them on the head. Like, this is all anecdotal. How many serial killer wives say, oh, I never knew, I had no idea. Like, I'm not saying he's guilty. Listen, innocent until proven guilty, God bless, right? I hope the allegations are not true. But I think it's problematic for people to be staking their reputation and tying their names without understanding the amount of corruption and pawns that have to be greased. And this is not something that's new, right? This existed in the time that Iron Curtain had given Cardinals of Marlboro Reds and Jack Daniels whiskey. Later on, when
good to see you again, man. Yeah, Alpha, let you respond. I asked you to respond. Tell me, are you based in Romania? If you don't mind answering that question, are you in Romania at the moment? And is there a lot of team members still in Romania since the arrest? But go ahead.
I'm not based in Romania, no. So probably obviously clearly a man who knows the region. I'm not saying that Andrew Tate is whiter than white. I agree with you that operating in emerging markets, in any emerging markets, does involve a degree of flexibility that you don't get in the West. The West is much more clear-cut in terms of legal environments. I do understand that things are different in the emerging markets. What we're referring to here is allegations that are very serious and very different to someone saying, oh, but operating in Romania, you need to bribe.
No, I'm saying innocent until proven guilty. I'm still that surprises me the amount of people with large followings that are willing to stake their reputation on this. I think we should wait to see stay put on his trial. I agree. Is it convenient he was arrested during the time he was speaking? But I'll tell you this much. I know the region well, and you don't really get the buyout, and you don't get the lead, right? If you know how this works, girls in Eastern European cities versus girls in the village peoples who are tricked, have their passports taken away. Like, this is what the business is still to this day. You can see it in American strip clubs when they have Asian and Eastern European girls on a bus when they're in, they're out, etc., etc. Like, I just think people need to, he's innocent until proven guilty. I don't think people should be tying their name. I've always had suspicions on his background just based on his father being CIA. He openly bragged about not paying taxes. He's openly
Wait, is Andrew Tate's father CIA? Is that true?
Yeah, I disagree. I fully support Andrew Tate. I prioritize my personal experiences with them over what I read in the news. And the outrage I see right now, I'm very it's predictable that Sam Bankman-Fried is walking free right now. He's stealing billions of dollars from normal people. He's walking free. They gave him a bail, even though he's proven that he was at the White House 3 times this year. This is somebody who's debating like whether or not he should be in and out of jail. I completely support Andrew Tate. They're good people, and everybody who has met them will say the exact same thing.
I want to just maybe make you feel better. We had Sam Beckford on the stage here. We've questioned him, and you know, we weren't nice at all. So I don't think you have any sympathizers with Sam in this space.
Alpha, you might not sympathizers, sorry to interrupt, sympathizers, but like just analyze who goes to jail and who walks. Yeah, nobody's forced elected prosecution. But I think the problem is, if he did do this, I don't want him to get off because I like some of the things he says. They say he was Hunter Biden. That's why the Democrats like their praise. If he's guilty, send his ass to jail. Listen, nobody here is against elected prosecution, especially what we've seen done with the American criminal justice system over the last couple of years. You know, people, you know, engaging in self-defense, being charged with murder, etc. But I think, you know, let's just slow our horses until we know what's going on. I disagree. I don't think we should slow our horses. I think we all understand that at a certain level of wealth, a level of money laundering or tax evasion, something fraud. That's always going to come up at a certain level.
God, he's such a bot. Oh my God, he runs the foot so hard for him.
Nico, do you?
I would disagree. In those specific industries, Eastern European gambling and the sex scam industry, you tend to have money laundering, AML issues, know your client issues, etc. That's why a lot of banks won't even do business there, at least Western banks. Well, my point, even if he doesn't get prosecuted for money laundering or tax evasion, I still support everything you said. And there should be more outrage. If the Wolf Left is going to talk about they care about human trafficking, and they should focus that energy into the claim.
Okay, they have to push at 7 o'clock. I think Nico will be there. Should I do it? I don't want to play Victoria though.
You actually care about human trafficking. It's been outed that the global elite all over these islands and touch children.
Oh my God.
Sex trafficking with children, and people move on to talk about Andrew Tate. Somebody who cleared his name about this. It's absolutely nonsense.
But he has cleared his name. He has not cleared his name, and I care so much about human trafficking, which is why if Andrew Tate is guilty of this, he belongs in jail. And what's crazy to me is the same people that have been championing, you know, we're against human trafficking. If the Romanian government, this prosecutor is legitimately one of the first prosecutors to actually be prosecuting it, then that's something that should be applauded, right? And we could be basically like going after like all these people that are trying to, you know, say Andrew Tate's a martyr. Like, what if he's really guilty of it, and now you're actually going after the prosecutors that are trying to stop trafficking and they're defending the victims? So I agree we should let it play.
He can't be guilty. He was nice when he hung out with him for 100 days.
Man, who is this guy? This guy sounds like a New Yorker. Am I crazy?
Cosby was nice.
No, I'm joking.
He's joking.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, part of being one of these sadistic people that actually do commit these crimes is you actually have to have a charming personality to convince people that you wouldn't do that. You actually have to have being one of these sadistic people that.
This guy sounds like a New Yorker. Am I crazy?
He was nice when he hung out with him for 100 days.
Man, who is this guy? This guy sounds like a New Yorker. Am I crazy?
People thought, you know,
guy.
Bill Cosby was.
Man, who is this guy? This guy sounds like a New Yorker. Am I crazy?
People thought, you know,
guy.
Bill Cosby was nice.
No, I'm joking. Yeah.
He's joking,
like,
obviously.
You know what I mean? Trafficking. And that are defending the victims. So I agree we should let it play out.
He can't be guilty. He was nice when he hung out with him for 100 days.
Man, who is this guy? This guy sounds like a New Yorker. Am I crazy?
People thought, you know, Bill Cosby was nice.
No, I'm joking. Yeah.
He's joking,
like,
obviously.
You know what
Come
I mean?
on.
Like, you can. Part of being one of these sadistic people that actually do commit these crimes is you actually have to have a charming personality to convince people that you wouldn't do them.
Well, he might not have even committed those crimes, right? If he was washing money, you know, that and they get him on that, it is what it is, right?
No speculation.
I feel like my bridge might burn tonight. I'm gonna get super triggered talking about this. Oh God.
I think it's not enough for some people to come in here saying they are his friends, they vouch for his character. That's not good enough. We need to see these charges. We need to see what the evidence is that the victims are actually.
Just want to say Happy New Year. If I don't see you, and
what do you mean if you don't see me? Or would you not see me?
I'm kind of going on to bigger, better things. Did you hear the news about signing with Kanye?
Oh yeah. Oh, you're heading over there too?
Yeah, dude, it's so sick.
Well, nice, dude. I'm happy.
If I only complete listening.
What's going on? Not a shithole. Like, oh, thank God.
But you
successful at it? If you're then 4 million a month, we love through like
or to rape. Do you think that these started the campaign to rape? Do you think that these two men would have any need to?
Oh God! Oh no, Sneeko, what are you doing?
There's no need for them to go and take pussy from a woman. That's all internet because we are programmed to think that people who are acting with their masculine imperative, that they're toxic and they're bad people. That has been purported so much ever since Trump said, grab her by the pussy. We get really triggered when we hear these statements online, but in real life, it's not true. A woman is never afraid when they're around them. I've been around them with dozens of women, and not one of them was there without wanting to be there.
You can say the same thing about Harvey Weinstein, but that's all.
Oh.
No, you can't.
Wait, someone said, isn't that my take? No, that's the exact opposite of my take. Or it's like, what I usually say is like, I don't know why these people rape when they could get girls any other way. I don't know why they do. But like, you don't need to, but they still do. That's the point. I don't know why. I don't know why men do it in these positions. Now, hold on. To be clear, I'm not saying Andrew Tate is a rapist. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't even know if he's been formally charged with rape yet. But like, celebrities and like people in power definitely rape. I don't know why they do it. It's stupid, but they definitely do it.
I did ask a question earlier. I don't think you answered it. I think you started talking about making a lot of money from his course. But do you know when he stopped, if he stopped the OnlyFans agency? You know, could be a side business or could be bigger than we think.
For as long as I've known Andrew, which is 4 years, the OnlyFans thing has never been a serious focus or a serious discussion point or a serious moneymaker. That's how he made his money back in the day. He grew up rough, Southside Chicago, then Luton. From what I understand, there weren't many options for a mixed-race kid to get ahead. He did that. It's not illegal. There are many people doing OnlyFans.
Correct. We had a few of them yesterday as well. So the business model itself is definitely not illegal. There's just ethical and unethical ways of doing it.
This is years ago. Okay, so I believe he did it ethically because he was quite successful at it. And it was years ago. This is not even something we've talked about the last 4 years. This is all digging up stuff from the past. Convenient now when he speaks against the narrative and he speaks against power. What a coincidence that all these old videos are something we're talking about. 5,000 people on the internet. Videos from, what, 10 years ago? Look objectively. This is clearly a politically driven reputational attack. It's very clear.
I would say whenever someone gets popular, like when my show blew up.
How do you square that? I want to know how they square that. Romania is a place with traditional Christian values, but the Romanian police are arresting Tate because they're part of the globalist agenda. How do you square those two positions away?
It's a very long time ago, but the allegations were of early 2021, and it looks like there's a lot of others involved, and there was 5 properties that were searched. A few people, I think Steph, who's an attorney in Romania, has been looking into this case, did mention that there's... Steph, can you clarify? The investigation involved a potential syndicate and had 3 jurisdictions, Romania, the UK, and the US. Is that correct, Steph?
Yeah, so they stated that there are multiple jurisdictions involved. No, they are accused in multiple jurisdictions, including Romania, UK, and the USA.
Okay, and could Andrew have been involved intentionally or unintentionally?
Why do they ask these questions?
Syndicate?
They're going to say no, of course not.
And there's also unintentionally as well. So that's the questions for Alpha. Unintentionally as well.
Happy to speak to that. He's very intelligent. He's very risk aware. He would not intentionally or unintentionally be involved in any crime syndicates. Again, let's be logical here. Does someone who's worth tens of millions of dollars need to coerce women or force sex out of them or run OnlyFans networks? Is that likely? It's not. It's unlikely. Does someone who speaks against power, speaks against the current thing, speaks against all the narrative that's being pushed, have attack vectors which can be exploited in the press to undermine them and lock them up? That is most likely. All I ask is that let's stay rational. Let's separate speculation from fact. Again, I've been around these guys for hundreds of days. Not once have I seen any red flags or any indications of any mistreatment whatsoever. And again, I'm an established professional. I know how to read people. So with respect to all of these passionate feelings, and I'm very anti-violence against women as well. I'm passionate about this too. The reality is...
I just want to be clear, guys. I'm also anti-violence against women, okay? I'm coming out strong as an anti-rape person right now, okay?
I haven't seen a single example of a single woman who feels concerned for her safety. Or maybe are the powers that be trying to push a narrative here and undermine somebody who speaks against them. Maybe.
So two more questions before going to
Mario. I would like to respond to that. Okay.
Ooh,
look, I'm myself someone who has been the victim of injustice. Right. I've seen a lot of wrongdoing on the other side. People trying to spin a narrative, trying to use false accusations or evidence that is wrong to just paint a certain picture of you. So on that part, I'm on your side, right? But I'm also someone who has quite an understanding about the business empire that Andrew Tate and his brother have built. So let me just go right into that, right? You are saying he's making enough money, he doesn't need this women, this is kind of an outdated business. Tate himself is claiming a couple years ago when he was 27 that he makes $1 million a month, and then later on claiming in a recent article in the Mirror that he's making $4 million a month with his cam and OnlyFans business. That's significant. That's not small, And when you are saying, or there are claims of him having 150,000 subscribers to his university, I find that totally unrealistic. I know what it takes to get a certain number of users. That's 5% of his Twitter followers are paying members to his Hustler University. I doubt that. There are no audited numbers that confirm.
Does he say that he has 150,000 members?
Electronic slot casinos.
I don't think I would believe
in
that.
Romania. Everyone knows if you are in the casino business in Rome, they run things there. He wouldn't be able to run these casinos unless there are connections and payoffs to organized crime. So, to say that this is all squeaky clean and above board, the way you do it,
Wait,
I mean,
can I not?
I'm on his side when
can't
it
line
comes
these
to
up?
potential injustice. Don't get me wrong. We've said yesterday in the space multiple times, let's wait for the evidence to come out before we make any judgment. Let's see, you know, what the charges are, and innocent until proven guilty. But there are some people coming in here.
Wait, is there no point,
making
or is
all
there no
these
way to line this
claims
up perfectly?
where I just have to say, sorry, that's not accurate. And to say that this whole cam business is a sideshow and shouldn't really matter to him or us to talk about it because he's making so much money with other stuff, it's just bullshit. It's not true. And the other thing is, you know, go ahead.
Okay, so rational question. I can see your logical reasoning there. A few things to point out. You said a few years ago when he was 27, he's now 36. So that's not a few years ago, that's almost a decade. He was making money in the cam game. That's now an outdated business. And for those who
Move
know
it down
the
one
industry,
row.
as
The
I
railroads
understand
work on a
it, there's not
two-tile
big money
system.
there anymore. Now, in terms of Hustlers University, if you're in the Discord group, you can see the active membership.
No, it's aligned on this side. This side works.
Look, we haven't exactly got a big four.
Rails are aligned on a 2x2 grid. There's a one wide.
But if you go into that group, you will see that there's over 100,000.
Wait, so I should like move it over here and it would be okay?
And so again, we're conflating two different things. He did the cam game like a good decade ago.
Oh wait, this
Why
will
are
work.
we still talking about it now? That's the question. Now, am I saying?
Well, because let me respond to that, Alpha. Not too long ago, in March of this year,
No, this doesn't work
he
either.
has given an interview to the Mirror together with his brother, talking about the cam business.
There's no way to do this.
We've linked to it yesterday, and he quite proudly said it makes me $4 million a month. People are getting ripped off by these girls, and it's not our problem. We don't care. No one can do anything about that. You know, you should read that and then maybe come back again and tell us that this is not a crucial operation.
I'd love to respond to that. Tate has also claimed he's a trillionaire.
Oh, so now it's all fake.
Literal, like word for word.
Okay.
You know, this is accurate verbiage.
Just a troll.
So let's keep in mind again, he uses shock jock tactics. You're telling me that instead of going with my daily conversations with this individual, I should read a news article? Is that really what you're saying?
Well, if you're saying that he is saying he's making up stories and he's lying, then what are we to believe, right?
No,
True.
Why is any of the
True.
quotes?
True.
Just a second. I'm talking.
That is true.
Hey, don't interrupt me. Because I
That's
don't
true.
interrupt
He kind of
you,
got
okay?
you. That was a big
So
true.
when you are saying we should listen to what he's saying, but at the same time you're saying he's using these tactics to make up stories and to lie about things, you know, how is that consistent? Like, how are we to know which is the truth and which isn't?
Come on, you don't understand comedy. You don't understand entertainment value. Seriously.
God, Sneeko is such a fucking
If
bot.
you don't,
Holy
if
shit.
you don't know the difference between someone saying I'm a trillionaire and someone being a liar, then I'm afraid that reflects poorly on your intellect, my friend.
No, look, you don't.
That's so
insult me
dishonest.
Because I'm probably, you know,
Don't
a clever person. But hey, just a second.
Don't block him. Don't block, please.
No, I'm not blocking him. I'm actually quite entertained at the moment. So let's just look at this interview that he's done very recently with Piers Morgan, right? He told him that he's a billionaire. I have never heard about the trillionaire story, but how does a billionaire charter jets, charter a yacht to do a holiday? He doesn't own these things. When I saw him post a picture of his bathroom at his house in Dubai, I was like, I thought you were rich, was my reply. You know, this guy is saying that he has all this money, he has all these subscribers.
Hey, happy birthday.
Like when I think, I guess.
Like I remember initially
99.9% survival rate.
Yeah, I remember insofar as she enjoys doing that, I think academic
Doing propaganda
institutions
for it?
and the hospitals and the governments across
It's a matter of, are you comfortable?
No
Shapiro
way.
said that. Yeah, he has.
But how does a billionaire
Why is pedophilia wrong, Sneeko? Or go fucking live in the Catholic Vatican, or go live on Twitter as well.
Do the work for the money, and that's
Right,
it.
right. But even that. If you want to ask me what my
Sneeko has that's just not one, and the editor.
Rich quick, when do I ever say that? Why are you applying that to me as if that's my doing comedy?
Fuck you.
But I feel like I'm still
they keep saying things like, oh, you have 97 IQ, low IQ, 100 IQ. And the reason I almost like that accusation is because what's your excuse? No, what's your excuse? I started out as a Call of Duty YouTuber. I'm known for making vlogs, gaming videos, reaction videos. Then I do street interviews. Then I go to IRL streaming. Then I go back to vlogs. Then I get banned everywhere for 3 years. I still thrive. I reject the gambling deal and I still create a career. Then I start geopolitically streaming and quickly become probably the biggest geopolitical streamer on Kick. And then you say, okay, low IQ. And I'm like, okay, well, if I'm low IQ, what is your excuse? How have I been able to navigate all these different obstacles, cancellation, attacks, bans, censorship? How have I been able to become the best editor in the game? People consider me the creative guy, the filmmaker guy, the best in that category. And then when I decide to become an IRL streamer, I take over that. Then I decide to start delving into faith and politics and stuff, and then quickly rise to the top in this field. If I'm low IQ and I'm able to dominate in these fields, then what do you